Hey guys, we're back. This is the AMP panel number 5. And again, it's the same trusted lineup. Dave, Dan, and Shay. I just want to say a shout out to Tracy Guns straight away. Tracy's in the chat. So, man, it's awesome to see you here. We were just talking.
Sound checking.
Yeah. We were just talking, Tracy, about what you might be playing, what rig you're playing right now on the tour that you're on. So if you have a second to put that in the chat, man, we'd love to hear about it. But we're going to start with just kind of talking about what everyone's been up to. So Shay, man, I'm gonna pass this to you because I think you got a story. You were just telling Dave and Dan about something that had happened to you just a few days ago, right?
Yeah, I found myself in the middle of a tornado. So this is, I mean, if I told people this story, I don't think it would be believable. It's so unbelievable. So scary. So me and my daughter, we've got bad storms coming in. Me and my daughter are chilling. I pick her up late from school. She had some after school stuff going on, and it's like 7 o'clock, and I'm making her some food, and then all the devices start going crazy in the house. Tornado alert, seek shelter. And she's like, what do we do? And I'm like, well, damn, we should probably go to the crawl space. And we couldn't get in the crawl space because we just did some work on it recently. And so I was outside and I was looking around, and the storm was really bad to the north and pretty chill to the south. And I just made the call. I was like, dude, let's hop in the car. Let's just go down to our family's house, like 30 minutes away. We'll be safe. Well, we hop in the car. We go by this one hospital, and we hit 69. And as soon as we hit 69, I look over, and there's a giant tornado coming directly at us. Directly. And there's this green debris field on the bottom of it, just circling around. It's all like trees and grass. So dude, it's so scary. I punch it up to 100 miles an hour. And then as I'm trying to outrun the tornado, it is coming directly at us. And so I slammed on the brakes, and I got under a bridge, and there was one other lady under there. And I literally screeched under the bridge and parked as far as off to the side as I could. And then like 10 seconds later, we were like literally in the middle of the tornado. And all the debris was like, I could see like a cylindrical circle of debris in front of me and in back of me. And dude, it was insane, dude. I saw and most of it was just grass and stuff like that because it came through the woods. So there wasn't like metal shards and stuff, but I did see like a road sign, flying by, and then some guardrails. And as soon as it kind of went over the bridge, it dissipated. And we were all sitting there in shock. Like me and my daughter, we're just like, oh my gosh. And then there's this huge gust of wind that comes from behind the car. And we look to the left, and there's another tornado coming down, and all the winds going into it, and I just take off. So at that point, I just take off and I outrun that. And that tornado is the one that took out the post office that I go to. Doesn't exist anymore. Totally wiped the post office clean. So it was crazy. It's been a weekend for me.
Wow.
Holy
shit.
Yeah. Sorry to start like that.
Life flashing before your eyes.
Oh man, with my daughter too, is just like having her in that experience. I mean, she was a champion, and I was freaking out. Like I was, freaking out about it. But she was pretty good. She was like, "Are we gonna die?" And I was like, "No, we're good." But,
meanwhile, inside you're going, fuck, we're gonna die. Fuck, we're gonna die.
Yep, exactly. Oh
so,
man,
I asked you when
because
you talked to me about this.
I talked to you that night,
on the day that it happened, and I asked you whether you'd ever been in one before, because I mean, I know
I've never even seen one.
Yeah, which was
Never even seen a tornado before. So
You shouldn't have brought it up, Jason.
there might be more this week, I hear. So
Might be, yeah. Well, this is it now that it's happened. So Sleepy Walrus is saying, if your ears ever suddenly feel like they're on an airplane in your home, it means a tornado is about to go over your home.
Oh, man.
Experience. Did you have that sensation that you can remember?
No. Well, I was underneath a bridge.
Sealed in a car.
Yeah. I'm about to build a storm shelter after that, though. Yeah. There's an actual video of the one. If you look up on YouTube, tornado spotted in Bloomington. Mm-hmm. There's this one video from these like condo apartment things and this big yellow debris cloud, and that's the one that I was inside of. It was terrifying, man. But yeah, so I've told that story too many times. I don't ever want to tell it again.
Now it's been recorded and will live on the internet for all time. So
I only remember. I remember being in when I lived in Michigan when I was a kid. I remember there was one tornado that came through that was reasonably close. I mean, reasonably close, 2 miles away, maybe, let's say. Yeah. And it wiped out this whole like little shopping center that I used to go to that had a grocery store in it and some other things. It wiped out at least part of it completely. And I remember distinctly that. So
they're terrifying.
I was pretty young though, but not. But I mean, Indiana's really flat too, so it's not.
It was a matter of like 2 days, I think, from Missouri, and they went all the way to Kentucky. Mm-hmm. There was like 2 different lines of supercell tornadoes, and it literally went directly through Bloomington, and then the one down in Kentucky was really bad. Like a lot of people died in that one. Like a whole bunch of deaths on that one. Scary stuff, man.
Yeah.
Is it? But it's not common for that part of the states. It's not, obviously, because you see it's the first one you've experienced. It's not common in that.
I looked it up. And it said there have been 18 recorded tornadoes in Bloomington, Indiana since 1975. And I'm just sitting here shaking my head.
That's kind of a lot.
How the fuck did I get in the middle of one? And there's only been,
Yeah, we have that's kind of a lot though, actually, and really, I mean, we have way less earthquakes out here, in that time frame.
Yeah,
and only one big one that I've ever been involved with, and I've lived here 30 years.
Question there from Sleepy Walrus Shay. Where is Shay at?
I'm in Bloomington, Indiana. Just it's about an hour south of Indianapolis there.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's a bit of experience around the world here. We actually had one in our city 10 years ago, and I never thought they could appear here in Ukraine. So there you go. Well, I've never experienced one.
Same.
Hopefully, you'd never do.
You don't get nothing in England apart from rain.
Yeah,
and more rain.
Yeah, you just have to make sure you got a life jacket. You'll just drown.
The biggest threat we have here is fire, pretty much.
Yeah.
We get fires and earthquakes.
Yeah.
But rule number 1 in living in California: live nowhere near the hills.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We get big fires in Slovenia. They're horrible. They just get out of control really quickly, and it's just devastating.
Yeah. All right. So to the next order of business, what's everyone drinking? It's the most important question.
Well, why don't you start with Jason?
Yeah.
All right. Well, under peer pressure from Dave particularly.
I don't know. I think everyone peer pressured you a bit.
Yeah.
It's a Bloody Mary.
Bloody Mary. There you go.
Yes, guys, and it's a real one. I actually made it myself, so I know exactly what's in it. It's not a premix.
Did you put
alcohol in it?
Yeah. I was actually.
Good call. That's true, Dave.
I was talking to Kath last night, my wife, and I was like, so I said, I'll have to go down to the store and get some tomato juice and stuff like that. She's like, what for? I said, I promised the guys I'm going to have a Bloody Mary on the show. She's like, what, at 7 a.m.? I'm like, yeah. She goes, well, they won't know if you don't put any. But I can, I'll swear an affidavit or whatever, right? This definitely has.
All right, that's good. That's good. Oh yeah, and then Shay's got some water stuff.
I got a Michelada.
Oh, you got a Michelada made with Michelob Ultra, right?
You know it.
Oh God. Delirium Red, Delirium, Belgian beer.
Nice.
And Gentleman Jack.
Right on.
Yeah. And are you mixing that or something, Dan?
Yeah, I'm going hardcore. I'm on the Coke Zero.
Coke Zero. Yeah, pretty solid choice there.
Yeah, you can have the alcohol, you just can't have the sugar. You know, that's the stuff that kills you.
Yep.
All right.
Or whatever's in the Coke Zero is going to kill you.
Yeah. Death by aspartame.
I'll say, let's give a shout out to a few of the guys that have dropped in the chat to say hello. So we got Dave here. Hey, Dave.
Hey,
man,
David.
I wonder whether you
Dave?
know you're not too far from Shay. I wonder whether did Dave experience a tornado, Shay? Do you know?
No, he was just north of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Joshua Stevens says, happy Sunday / yeah, it is Monday here, man, in Northern California. Axis of Evil. Hey, guys, looking forward to the show. And we've got Bezel Hump from Brazil. Hey, man. Making representation here all around the world. We've got a question we're going to go to here. And this one was posted, an hour and a half before the show even started. Someone's king. Hey, guys, any of you ever heard about or know anything about the output transformers that retard? Larry Gower of Lowry Amplification uses these in his Dino. What do you guys know about this?
They're Scots. He was using Scott transformers.
Scots?
Yeah.
SKOT.
What are those?
They used them in Laney's.
Yeah, they used to make them here, didn't they?
Yeah.
They're in all the AOR and what are they called?
Oh, really?
ProTube. Yeah, ProTube leads and stuff like that. They're great transformers. I don't know that they're that different from.
I don't think so.
Drake or something.
At least in that, like in those amps, I think they were more or less like the Drake and Dagnall kind of clone.
They're made in the UK, Dan.
Is that company still in existence?
Yeah.
I don't know if they're still around.
I thought they were made on the East Coast here. Man, I want to look that up now.
No, I don't think they're made here.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was the UK.
There's almost no transformer companies here.
Yep, they're in the UK. You're right. Yeah, they're still.
You got more than right here. That's for sure.
Maybe.
So, hang on. When I search for them, it comes up with a company called FT Transformers now. So I don't know, maybe did they get bought out?
And in England, Dan, they're okay.
Yeah.
Right. And still around. And do we know who's still using them? I mean, Larry doesn't put many amps out these days, does he? To my understanding.
Well, I just checked their info on Company's House, and it says they dissolved in March 2024. So maybe.
So he's not using that.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. My next question, related question on this topic would be, and Shay, you might know this. What kind of output section is in that amp? Is it kind of a standard 100-watt Marshall?
I think that one is, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
I'm pretty sure.
What, in a Larry Dino?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever seen one in person?
No.
I've never actually seen one myself.
Vaporware, as far as I'm concerned. We've never seen.
Tell us about it, Dave. Man, I want to hear.
Well, I've never seen them. I've never seen one. No one I know has one. And I mean, I guess there's a few people that have them, but not that I know personally. And I've never personally seen one ever.
No.
Played one, or really even heard one. Really.
Is it the same thing where he, like the ones I've seen online? Because I know almost nothing about what Larry's done. but I see a lot of pictures of his amplifiers that have basically converted 800s. So they look like anyway.
I think the earlier ones were like that before he was doing production stuff, because I've seen a few of those, and I think he was still doing some rebuilds even in like the early 2000s, but I think at that point he was well into doing all production stuff, I think. But I mean, I know someone who's got a Larry modded 2203, but it was a reissue 2203, I think. So, and it was like early 2000 kind of time. So, and that was a rebuild inside.
How did it sound?
Sounds good. Sounds great. You know, it's like from what I've heard, at least of it, you know, it sounds like, you know, percussive, really, you know, really raw and articulate. You know, it's
I mean, like all the insides of any pictures I've ever seen of anything he's done is immaculate. So it's beautiful. So
yeah, the builds are like amazingly clean.
Work of art.
Yeah. Yeah, you just can't believe how clean those things look inside.
He was really active on the old Metro forum too.
Oh yeah, I used to interact with him some back then. Yeah.
Yeah. He put out a lot, man, you know, he put out so much great information there too, man. It's like
he did. Nothing but good things to say.
Yeah, he definitely put out loads of cool information and shared lots of stuff. So
I don't know if you can remember this, Shay, but when you and I first got to talking, I got to know you. You told me that you had literally that day or just that week or whatever, you had actually been in direct contact with Larry.
Yeah,
a bunch of questions about elevated heaters. Yeah.
I was asking him some. I don't know. I was just picking his brain about some stuff because I was like, "How high can we take this thing? Because you know, how safe is this? Like, when do we get in the danger zone here?
Between 12 and 50 volts."
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
You don't want to elevate.
But if you take if you take it further, it gets way quieter. That's what I was asking. I was like, how safe is this? You know,
I'm sure he eventually said, "Well, why don't you find out and let me know?"
I did find out. So
what was the limit?
If I don't remember, but if I think, you know, just outside of what Dave said there, if you go much higher, and you
go like 60 volts maybe, but
yeah.
I think I went up to 80, and if a Wi-Fi router was like 20 feet from the amp, it's all you could hear. It's like, so it was just like jumping signal on there. So, and it was just that.
Was that with AC heaters though? Elevated AC heaters.
Elevated AC.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. From the screen node.
I just like gave up on that concept years ago.
Me too.
I mean, it's like, and after doing so many amps, after a while, I give up on the AC heaters too for mods. Even mods, I put the little brick, you know, that I showed Jason and stuff in there now, and at least do the first 2 tubes and call it. I just do it right away, and then I don't have any problems. Not sitting there going, this one's humming a lot. Okay. And, you know, and like, why even have that problem? Just do it from the get-go and just call it a day. And then you turn it on, you're like, quiet.
I've actually experimented with that a bit with the last few mods, Dave. I actually went to did the whole mod, left it bone stock, like extra preamp tube in a 800 reissue or something like that, a 2203. It was fine. And then I elevated.
It can be, but it also can't be, depending on the transformer.
Yeah. I mean,
I remember that amp I did for George Lynch, sort of like the one you did.
Yeah.
Fuck that amp.
Yeah. See, the one I did for him didn't need anything.
Yeah. But I mean, yours. I mean, I had yours in here too. It had a little hum, but
yeah. But it's like normal kind of hum, right? You know.
Yeah, I don't like any hum. So
no,
I like zero.
You don't even know.
I like it just quiet. You know, the thing I always do is I turn the gain to 0, turn the master on 10. Oh, let's see what we got there.
Yeah.
And I get that quiet. If I can get that quiet, it's a good, maybe I can get the rest quiet. But it's generally when you add the extra preamp tube is when you really run into problems.
Yeah.
And then if you're using JJ preamp tubes in those slots, you can run into lots of problems with those too, and the heater hum.
Yeah.
and stuff. Actually, the Chinese tubes work better if you just use Chinese tubes. But those got problems too.
Yeah. The biggest factor for me with having the noise floor acceptable or not when you're doing the AC heaters is if there's a clip circuit. Because, you know, your clip circuit is just taking your signal path that was normally nice, lots of headroom, and it's just throwing it right next to the noise floor because you're clamping that signal so small. You just don't have the headroom there. And it's like, you know, you've just moved like 50% closer to the noise floor as soon as you've got that engaged. So
yeah, because you got to turn the master higher, and then if there's hum after that, and
yeah, exactly. It's, you know, everything's off. So I mean, at that point, you're going to amplify any hum, any noise, and you've just I think in that situation you've got to at minimum do the elevated heaters, or just go full blown DC. You know,
it's just so easy to do the DC that I don't.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when old Soldanos come in too. I ask people, I go, well, would you like it quiet?
Yeah.
Because they never were quiet. They never, ever were quiet. They have lots of hum in them. And even Mike Soldano said, yeah, I used to have to sit there and go between multiple preamp tubes to try to find the quiet one that'll work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember talking about that on your live stream, Dave.
Yeah, man. I in fact, I have a Soldano on my bench right now, Warren D. Martinis, and
nice.
And it's getting DC heaters.
Yeah. Those amps, they hum and they hiss.
Yeah, the first 3 preamp tubes get DC heaters on that amp. The phase inverter is the only thing that doesn't, and it doesn't have the shitty loop. We modified most of his amps, but he had one left. So it has like a proper pedal level loop that he can use with his pedals, and then it doesn't have that shitty loop circuit. It's like the original SLO that didn't have loops.
Yeah.
Sometimes if people are really sensitive, I just leave the loop in and it's still, the circuitry's still all there, so it doesn't change the tone.
Yeah.
But with Warren's, I went back to I have the schematics of the like mic schematics of the original SLO with no loop.
Yeah.
And the very early SLO with the first loop. And I have the original hand-drawn schematics for the mic. So I just went back to the original. Because years ago, when I was at making music and Andy Brower's and stuff, we sold Soldanos, and I remember when he would make it, and he would make it with or without the loop. And the ones without the loop always sounded better.
So how does it sound when you remove the original loop? Like, what kind of tonal difference do you find?
It's hard to explain. It just seems less garbled or less. It's clearer. Yeah, it's better, more articulate, more immediate, better, just less garbage in the middle.
Because there's definitely debate out there with the SLO fans about what that loop added tonally. Now the question is, of course, does it actually improve it or not?
It sounds way better without.
Yeah,
it's just like the rack SLO is the rack SLO that was done recently has the complete original circuit minus that loop, and then a tube effects loop post. You know, just like a typical style tube effects loop post with a power amp, you know, system volume.
Well, Dave, that's pretty much
that amp sounds wicked.
The reissue is the same, isn't it? Pretty much.
I mean, literally, when the reissue rack one was done, it was really done off an original rack one, exactly what was in that amp. Yeah. And I think that amp didn't, but had to fix the loop problem, of course, and fix the loop problem better than it was done in the first reissue. So
cool. I've got a question here from Sleepy Walrus. So, hey man, Dave, the reason I asked you about the BE50 on Friday, so that'll be in reference to your Tone Talk show, is because mine has 4 preamp tubes and was made in 2024. Mine has one less than most current amps, right?
It's the same circuit. It's just that we use the same chassis and the same like populated holes for the B100 Deluxe. So I'm just literally, there's one, the first tube V1 is not using half of it. And then the tube that is closest to the front panel of the amp, which is the one he's talking about that's added, is only using half of it. It's just for ease of wiring, you know, for when you're making it. I mean, it's not like a tube socket's costing anything.
I know what you mean now.
Really.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So it's
so
the
rather
same.
than using the
One
two
tube,
triodes on one, you're
I
using
mean, half and half. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
That's literally just because it's wired the same, you know, like the same pre-wiring done in either amp. You put different boards in and stuff. Didn't have to do it that way. That's why we did it.
Oh, one thing I was going to mention about when we were talking about adding preamp tubes and how it changes the makeup of an amp. I've done a bunch of those studio series now. You know, I don't know, Dave, I know you've done one down. I think, Dan, I think we all have, right?
Yeah.
Punch an extra preamp tube in an SV20 or whatever. And DC heaters in those, right? But there's no regulator.
Right.
Right? It's just a filter network. You'll drop in resistor, electrocapacitor. When you put, I've done this 3 or 4 times now, and every single amp was the same. When you put that extra current draw from that extra tube on the DC, it introduces enough ripple on that DC power supply that you get a hum in the op-amp driven loop. See, the op-amp driven loop is driven off that same DC supply. So check it next time, right? You put the extra tube in, you got the loop's off, you can't hear it, it's fine. You put the loop in, all of a sudden you'll hear this.
No, I didn't have that problem.
It's 100 hertz. Yeah, I've had it 3 or 4 times, each one of them now.
You know what, though? I think I've only added the tube once or twice, though. So most of the time I use what's in there.
Just you know what? Where you tap the tube heater voltage from also is the other thing.
Yes.
Because
this is why the first time I didn't notice it, because I tapped it from a different place.
I was tapping it off of the regular chain, off of the first, you know, the input tube, and doing it before, and I was getting about 10.8 volts on heaters there, and it was like, okay, because sometimes if you do DC heaters, it will drop a little bit lower by the time you get it all rectified and smooth and everything. But you know, it was okay. But then I found that if you trace back along, there's a couple of 3 ohm or 3.3 ohm resistors. I know exactly what you mean. Along the smoothing chain. If you go back a little bit, you actually can tap it around 12.4, 12.5, and it just works better. So I'm going to make sure I do all of them now off of that.
I'm going to go back to that.
You can also change those resistor values that are dropping it a slight bit and get the voltage out of it.
Yeah, it's another thing. You can just adjust it and change it, or it's easy enough just to tap off of it. It still sounds good even if you just
there's still it's still filtered enough that you don't get a hum if you
exactly. Right. It's clean enough. It's not rippling or anything like that badly.
I'm going to go back to doing it that way. All right, I'm just looking through here. So everyone's still got a lot of conversation here about the tornadoes still. This is earlier on in the chat. Hey, Harrison. Hey, man. How you going? Good to see you on here. What's up, guys? Harrison here. What are you guys' thoughts on some studio YouTube content creators claiming that, here we go, that amps are less important than speakers? I'm not aware of these videos, but
I mean, speakers. Okay, look, the difference between a modified Marshall and a twin. I mean, that's a pretty big difference, right? So, difference between, say, you have a room full of all sorts of brands, Jason, myself, yours, and you put them all in the room, and your amp switching between them all with relatively same sound dialed in. It's not that big of a difference. Switching speakers, though, from, say, a 75-watt speaker to a 65-watt speaker to a Greenback to a Vintage 30 to an Eminence speaker, those are pretty large differences.
Yeah.
Probably more so than the amps. So in some respects, I understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
You know,
put speakers at the bigger factor, you know, for difference. And I would say the speakers make a bigger difference.
I mean, unless you're, like I said, a twin and a Marshall. I mean,
yeah, if you're comparing relatively, like, you know,
the same
similar amps and stuff, yeah.
But that change between the speakers is definitely there. But also, it's like, I mean, what you put into that speaker is just as important as far as the feel and all that shit goes. So,
oh sure,
they're bread and butter, man.
Yeah, how you drive the speaker and even how loud you drive that speaker is a big factor. That's a huge thing with like greenbacks and other things like that, where they kind of like, they come to life when you push them, right? You know, I always think they just start to get that bloom.
I often think that's what people are hearing. You know, when they say, "Oh, I like it when I drive my amp louder," and I want it, can I use an attenuator and get that? I'm like, no. You're probably actually hearing the speaker. What's changing with the speaker?
Yeah, absolutely.
Could be.
It's, well, think about it. When you do the plexi thing, you know, if you're going for like the Van Halen tone and you want to be getting all that kind of saturated gooey goodness, you know, that you get when you pump a plexi, like, you know, to oblivion, very accurate, and now you have the speakers absolutely crying for mercy, and you it's the combination of those things. They're your gain stages, right? I mean, if you don't have that speaker like being pushed to the limit as one of those gain stages in the path, I mean, you're missing a big part of all the gain and saturation that you get with that rig. You know, if you do the same thing but with a really high headroom speaker, like I don't know, do it through something that's like 100+ watts of speaker, it's not gonna get the same vibe. You know, you kind of, you got to have all those pieces that add together for that sound. So it's the same if you do like if you try and do the Van Halen thing, you know, using a load box. You're driving a load box, but you're not actually making speakers distort anymore. It's way cleaner. It's never as gainy as it is when you do it for real with a real cab.
Yeah, right on.
I think my response to this question was be that both important. Like
both.
Yeah, they are.
Together, it's one thing, isn't it? You know, like like they work together. All right, we got a super chat here. Jose G. Hey, thanks, man. Happy Sunday. Yeah, or Monday for me. I'm anxiously hunting for a new guitar this summer. Being that misery loves company. What gear are you all eyeing these days?
Oh.
Anybody? Go ahead.
Who wants to go first?
I have something I just got.
Okay, well,
it was a stupid purchase that I just had to have because I saw it.
It's even better.
But I got to go get it. So you guys talk first.
Okay.
All right.
So you guys,
I got a silly one. It's totally silly. I've always wanted a Jackson Concorde.
Oh,
like those are so crazy and cool, man.
Yeah,
like, really expensive. Like the RR 1.5, you know. They're super cool though. Every time I start looking at them, I just like have to like stop. I'm like, no. I don't need to spend $5,000 on a crazy guitar like that. So I always stop myself. Oh, there's his. That's that one.
That's like a pointy guitar that Dave's got.
Did you get it back?
Oh,
nice.
Man.
It's an old Tokai.
Killer.
Wait, is this the one you were just talking about?
I might have talked about it. Yeah.
Did you get it refretted?
Last time we were talking about it, right?
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So you got it back.
Yeah, I bought it for cheap, and then the only thing is you can't lean these anywhere.
Yeah, that's it. You gotta hang
now
on.
I gotta go put it back because it's got a bare knuckles VH2 in it that I had laying here, a new bridge.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Looks
New
fun.
frets, new
Double
tuners.
chrome.
Cool, man.
Very cool. How's it sound?
Sounds great. Sounds good.
Plays great.
Is it like?
I have no idea what the
thick?
bodywood is. I don't know what the bodywood is.
No. Is it like thick sounding or like bright or just?
It's not necessarily really thick. I mean, I think it's maybe like a Strat would be, kind of with a humbucker.
Great.
You could probably
cool.
find it.
I gotta hang it back up though because I have nowhere to put it.
Yeah.
I did that. So I got that 1979 Greco, and I was obviously really curious about the exact specs, the body wood, and all the rest of it. So I managed to find original catalog online. It's like images or a PDF file or something like that. It's all in Japanese, but you put Google Translate over the top of it, and it puts the English translation over the top. So there you go. I managed to find out all the specs. Yeah.
What was the body wood?
Yeah. Now you're asking me. I can't remember.
It's got to go dig up the specs again.
Man, I knew you were going to ask me that.
I'm not going to make you do it. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'll have to go and have a look again. I did know. Too early.
Also, got this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw you grab that. That was awesome.
It looks really cool from what I saw.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Wow.
Very cool.
I'm opening random pages here. Let's see. Ooh, some orange stuff.
Nice.
This book is really beautiful.
Oh man, it does look amazing.
Really cool.
Looks exceptional.
Yeah, no, it's exceptionally well made. Well worth it.
Yeah. So Dan, did you anything that comes to mind for you, man?
Any gear gas? You know what? I'm always like on the lookout for Charvels and like modded strats and stuff like that. You know, I'd really like to get hold of a 70 strat, but I kind of always wanted to have a lefty neck on one and then Floyd it and then get it like jumbo fretted and everything, and it would just be cool as fuck. But yeah, I haven't made it happen yet.
Yeah,
but who knows?
Cool.
Maybe. I might just like do a parts of cars that just get like one of those like MJT like aged bodies and get a neck and do it that way because they look cool.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's like anymore. It's pretty much like, okay, I don't know. No, I don't need that.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
That's what I say to myself after I see it. Oh, I want that. Oh no, I don't need that.
Yeah. You just look behind you and you go, oh shit.
Well, because it's going to sit there. It's going to sit here and not be used.
It's just better not to look.
Yeah, and sooner or later I'm going to run out of colors to pick from, you know, because I've already got like one of each, you know, so it's like.
This is it, man. I'm in a one in, one out situation now, and
That's a good one. That's a good call.
Yeah.
The thing about looking too is like once you start looking on reverb, you've already lost half the battle. The second you start looking, you're halfway there because it takes
especially if you've done a few of these.
Yeah,
it just takes a little bit of extra alcohol, and you go, fuck it, click.
Yeah, Gentleman Jack,
absolutely.
And then you're like, what did I do?
Yeah.
Man,
that's how I got that fawn amp.
Exactly. It's exactly how it happens, man. Doesn't matter what.
And now I'm going to get a cab for it to match.
Oh,
because you got to have that, right?
Yeah.
Are you hunting for one? You've been looking.
No, I think I'm going to do a trade.
Okay.
With the guy who wrote the book, Peter Margolis.
Oh yeah, cool. Well, yeah,
I'm sure he's got 3 cabs.
There you go.
And one amp. And I go, well, you have 3. Give me one.
Yeah.
He goes, well, I need that Jose amp. I'm like, amazing. All right. We can do that.
All right. We've got another super chat here. We're going to hit Yaji from the UK. Thank you, man. Evening, gents. Greetings from the UK. Dave, have you ever worked on Bob Rock's Jose JMP?
I haven't yet, but he has threatened to send it to me 1 million times. And he's supposed to still.
So we don't.
From what I gather, it's just a 3-in-1. So it doesn't have the clipping diodes or anything. So it's the lower gain style.
So that's the one that Metallica used quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Probably a good one to document.
You don't need a lot of gain when you're recording and doing stuff. In fact, that works against you.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and you're layering it up with other stuff. Like if they were layering it with boogies and things, I mean, you don't need the Marshall to do the heavy lifting there, do you? Really, it's like it's there for the grit and the texture.
Yeah, the one I mean is Bob Rock's Jose that Hetfield lovingly modded its logo to. Yeah. This has been.
I'm supposed to get that.
Yeah, and I do remember that story now.
Be good to document for sure.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be anything that wasn't normal. I haven't seen 10,000 times.
Yeah, probably not.
I hope it is though.
Yeah,
I bet
it's not.
Yeah. Oh, the secret of all this time.
I
we
bet it's not.
We finally discovered the secret. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same.
No, but they've all got a little bit of their own kind of like heart and character, haven't they? These amps. There's like little quirky things that got left in for like.
Well, yeah, you know why? You know why Jose would do the front end mod on these amps and not change anything about the rest of the amp.
Yeah,
like he wasn't. There's no change in. It doesn't matter whatever kind of amp it was, Marshall
Presence
amp
gap,
it was,
whatever, just as it was.
Yeah, the presence, everything in the power section was left exactly as it was, all the filtering, everything. So if it was on an old 12 series amp and it was a Jose, well, there's different filtering. If it was on a late 70s, had different presence. If it sounded like shit, well, it still sounded like shit when he was done.
Yeah. It looked like some things like we're changing a little bit along the way, like along his career, when you see like there's a few things like he like moving around that insert loop thing he was doing on some amps.
Yeah.
Like I saw somewhere it's right after the input jack, then like somewhere it's like near the cathode follower and that sort of thing. And
yeah, the main one, well, first it was right after the first gain stage.
Yeah,
I have seen one that was in front of the gain stage, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but
No.
And then I have seen one that's right before the cathode follower.
Yeah.
So I've seen 3 variations of it.
Well, I guess, Dave, when the thing about, hey, this one sounds like shit, this one doesn't. I mean, Jose couldn't test it, could he himself? Didn't play guitar.
He didn't play guitar.
So just do the mod and verify that the amp's functioning, I guess, but not be able to sit there and kind of like play it and tune it,
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't done.
Makes
Crazy, right?
Yeah, it's so fucking nuts.
So I'd imagine then probably it was down to like if a particularly great guitar player stopped by to get their amp and they then were like testing it and like, oh, this doesn't sound good. Can you do a bit more of this or a bit more of that?
Yeah.
Maybe then he was tweaking a little bit further, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, man,
Or
and
not.
this is it. We had this conversation on one of the first or second streams that the 4 of us did, which was about, I think we used the term gainy hands. Someone said gainy hands, whatever, but like difference in tone
or no gain hands.
Yeah, no gain hands.
Yeah.
That's right. Where's all the gain gone? You broke it. Yeah.
It robs all the gain from the amplifier.
Yeah.
I still can't figure that one out. Like, what is it?
I mean, I've heard it time and time again where you're actually like looking at the amp going, did it break? Did it break?
Yeah.
Is that working right? Just like, man, especially if you give them a plexi or something. Oh God.
Yeah, I think we've all witnessed it now.
Yeah, it's just like,
Oh, yeah.
God.
But
Yeah,
a great player will make almost anything sound amazing.
That's true.
Yeah, within reason. Yeah, I mean, it's most of them can get something usable even out of.
Yeah, they'll find the angle on the rig. Like this is kind of.
Well, yeah, because also you ever notice like I can tell from my own experience. Like I normally play with quite a bit of gain, right? I just like it. I'm used to it. I can control it good and everything. I don't need it, but I like it. But then I've played a couple of gigs where I ended up plugging into something that had like no gain at all. And you have to shift your playing style. Like instead of using more like legato stuff, I was playing more, picking, alternate picking and everything, because you've got a kind of, the notes are not singing, they're not holding on. They're like dying the second you pick the string. So you sort of have to modify your playing style like that. Otherwise you look like you lost about 20 years worth of your playing experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
it's like picking up someone else's guitar and like it's high action and heavy.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Like, you're like, fuck, you just can't play what you normally play.
Hey, we should do the segment in our show where we go, what's Dan got behind him now?
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah. There we
well,
go. We've got a white shell.
that one is Richie Faulkner's amp.
Oh, wow.
Of
Of course it is. It's white.
Exactly. You know, the Falcon. That's one of 3 that he's got. And that was actually the inspiration for Lynch's amp. I believe because they're like related and everything, they were talking about gear. And then the next thing I got a call from Lynch after doing 3 of these for Richie. So, and again, you know what it is? It's like it's just optimizing, you know, the 2203 circuit, making it sound like a good 2203.
There's no extra gain stage or anything like that, Dan. It's just
no, there's no extra
3
gain
stages
or
and
anything
cathode
like
follower.
that. No,
Yeah.
but the cool thing is though, it like when you get that circuit really dialed in properly, it actually feels like there's a little bit more gain, even when you're plugged straight in. If you get it really dialed in properly, all the voltages, like the right caps, you know, everything in there. I mean, I loaded those amps up with like mustard caps and particular ceramic discs and things like that, and it just came out sounding really good. Like the grounding's a little bit different, you know, there's some different things done like that, but yeah, I think 1 out of the 3 of them I did with an effects loop, so it was sort of like a test run because he didn't really need loops on the other 2, but yeah, so that's a great one.
Is it a new amp?
No, I think it's a 1981 or an 82, something like that.
Nice.
All 3 of them were like early 80s ones. So yeah, just a great healthy sounding 2203. And then the top one's just my trusty 1980 or 79. It was I think it was a super bass. Now it's a killer Cali. It's got like a tube loop and all the other stuff. It's just a gain beast, you know. But
sweet. One of your personal amps?
Everyone who's played that one, yeah, it's just like that's sort of my trusty go-to amp, and everyone who's played it is just like, yeah, I want one of those. So it's great, you know. So yeah, it's cool. It's got nothing special in it either. It hasn't got like vintage caps and stuff like that in it, but it just, I don't know, it just sounds good. So
awesome.
Yeah, that's today's Dan's
segment.
amp segment. So
cool.
Yeah.
Marvel Harris is saying that there was an old Larry Dino clip on YouTube and it sounded like us. Yeah.
Maybe it was someone with no gain hands.
Exactly.
Could be. You never know.
You never know, man. You got to play it in the flesh to know. It's the only way. Sleepy Walrus is asking you, Dave. He's moving out of LA 20 June, moving to Kansas City. Will your amp room be ready by then?
I sure hope so.
It's a month away.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
How many amps are you going to have in there?
Well, I have amp switchers for up to 16 amps.
Oh, nice. Hey, talking about switchers, that one you turned me on to, the N audio.
Yeah.
I bought it.
Oh, you did?
I went for the 4x4.
Oh, okay.
Switcher. I didn't go for the I don't know what yours is like, the 8 amp
the big
switcher,
one. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't need to do 8 amps. I was just looking at it and thinking, yeah, it's overkill. Like I only need to switch like 4 heads at one time, but yeah, looks great. So I should have it probably by
and it's all completely passive too. So like when you're A/Bing things and doing stuff, it's like completely like nothing's in the path.
Yeah,
so you're getting a fair comparison.
Yeah, perfect. No, it's just something like that. It's just super handy when.
Does that have the attenuator loop, the small one too?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's just basically all the same features as the one you've got, identical. It just does less cabs and less heads.
Yeah.
So it just does 4 heads, 4 cabs.
Yeah, and an attenuator loop.
Yeah, and the attenuator loop, and you could. I got the effects loop option as well, the second unit that goes with it, so you can switch the.
Yeah.
You know, if you stick a delay pedal or something in it, and you want to go between every amp, and you want to have it with it, then
it has that. That's cool.
Yeah, I just thought it was great. I mean, that's one of the things I guess I didn't like about some of the other switches that were out years ago. You know, you kind of had to do the wet dry thing or pipe it into another, you know, into another cabinet or
I've
something.
got-
Yeah, his stuff's really good. It's built like a tank too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like you
really
could
good.
throw it against the wall as hard as you could, and nothing would ever happen to it. You know, like
yeah.
I have other ones too. It's even the switches on the front, you know, are all flat, so nothing can get broken off. And just the chassis itself is really thick steel, and it's really heavy duty, and
it's
the,
well
the
thought
circuit
out.
the circuit board inside is beautiful. It's well laid out. It's well done.
Yeah, and the price isn't crazy high either for it. You know,
No,
I think it was like just about €1,000 shipped.
yeah. Now you're really going to see what things sound like.
Yeah,
you could do real time A/Bing between things, and you're like, oh shit.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I actually think it's going to massively, help to kind of level up my builds, because you can really now like test things properly, and you don't have to rely on your audio memory. Because, like, let's face it, audio memory is about the best part of 10 seconds after you turn something off, isn't it?
Exactly.
You can't trust your ears to remember this stuff. So no, being able to test multiple heads against each other is just brilliant. So
I still need to get one.
Yeah, if you're trying different tubes, or you're trying different anything, say you have two identical amps, I want to try this other kind of tubes. Okay, I'm put those in, use the amp switcher, and you're like, oh, okay,
yeah,
that's pretty cool. Or I hate these. One of these things will come out.
Dave, have you ever had, like, with the switches that you've used, have you ever run into ground loop issues with the shared grounds across multiple
There's no
heads?
shared grounds.
Yeah, the one I've got, which is an all passive one, all the grounds are shared.
Oh, what brand is that?
You can get, it's a Deliso.
Oh yeah,
it's got the dials on it.
Yeah,
it's like a 7x7, and it's got the attenuator loop in it. But all the grounds are shared, man. So, like,
you have ground loop crazy.
Yeah, but it always manifests as a squeal. The ground loop, not like the ground loop hum, but the high gain squeal. Yeah, it's shit. It's annoying.
Get one of these.
Well, man, I was just like,
hit up the Nico. I think it's Nico and audio. Nikki.
Yeah,
Dan, can you drop a link in our message chat after? I mean, just do it later, whatever. Right? But,
sure.
Yeah, Nikki's cool. He's nice. He's done all sorts of stuff in the past for, like, he used to do some stuff for EBS pedals and things and layouts and stuff, and comes for a studio background too, I think, with some studio switchers and things. And
super helpful. How much did that one? Like, immediately got a message back, so that's always a good sign.
How much did it cost?
Yeah, how much is the one that you got, Dan, for the 4?
The one that does 4 heads and 4 caps.
Yeah,
I think it was like, if you only want just the thing that switches the heads and caps and not switching the effects loops, then I think it's like €700. If you want the effects loop module that goes with it, so it switches every amp's loop simultaneously, so let's say, like, if you've got like a pedal in the loop and you want that pedal to move to every single amp when you switch, you just hook all of their loops straight up to this device thing. If you do it with that, it's like €1,000.
It's like, if you do that, it's €1,000 for the unit and €1,200 for all the cabling that you need.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's €720 just for the switcher.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Exactly.
But then I was thinking, when I was getting it, it was like, but the other one is $10.99.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, it's not that much different.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're buying the effects loop module, then obviously it's, you're looking at like an increase of about $400 or $500 with it. So for me, it was just like, okay, but I'm probably not going to run more than 4. Whereas, like, you need to have, like, you probably need, like,
well, I'm going to use that one in the future. I'm going to use that one in the future at the NAMM show. So so I'll be using that, because the attenuator loop makes it extremely useful for me. So, like, let's say you're exhibiting a bunch of amps and one of them's a plexi, and you want the attenuator in on the plexi. There's the thing that is useful.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We've got a super chat from David. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. No question, but thanks for
Thanks, David.
that,
He
David.
bought you a Bloody Mary.
Yeah. I'll have a drink in my Bloody Mary for that. And I'm going to hit these super chats straight away. Dan, can you please elaborate on your Cali mod a bit? Is it similar to the 3-in-1? Can it be done on the reissue to 2204 Mark IIs, or better on a 1959 hand wired? Saw some YouTube clips from eons ago. It sounds killer, mate.
Hey, mate, thanks for the question. So it really depends. If we're talking about the original Cali mod, which was like right back when I started out, that was different because it was like a 3-gain stage Jose style thing. The front end is not identical to a 3-in-1. It's like it's got a different setup on the first gain stage, but it's you can still cop similar sounds to it. But it was 3-gain stages plus the like the Jose master, with the clip
Pre-tone
circuit.
stack master.
Yeah, pre-tone stack master with the clipping circuit switchable, and it had like on the front, it had like 3 lots of mini switches. It was like there was a diodes, transistors thing, and then there was like bright caps for both the gain pots.
Yeah,
and there was like a little either a push pull gain pot or a little mini switch I used to put on there to change the feel. It was like tight or spongy. And yeah, it's a bit more modern sounding than a Jose. It could get more gainy. The front end was definitely hotter than a Jose. And then it kind of changed over the years. Then it's definitely a bit more like saturated in the response. Just over the years that kind of changed a bit more, and then it became eventually went in the direction of becoming a 4-gain stage thing, not really relying on diode clipping anymore. And that's pretty much where it's stayed ever since, maybe 2013, 2014, I guess.
So then it's a postmaster.
It's a postmaster, yeah.
And then you got the extra gain stage at like the violence or whatever the thing.
Yeah, I mean, I've done it both ways. So there was a point where I was still keeping the cathode follower in there, and I was adding another tube.
Right.
And then I was able to do the Jose master, the pre-tone stack master on it. And that was pretty cool. But the pre-tone stack master, you kind of, I think you always run into a little bit of issues when you're using that and you've got an effects loop, because as soon as you adjust it, you change your loop settings and everything.
Yeah, man.
It's just kind of annoying. It almost becomes a send level at that point, right?
Yeah.
So
totally.
It's annoying because then a lot of people say, "Oh man, the loop doesn't work properly," but they don't realize they're setting the controls wrong and stuff. So I kind of just thought,
turn it up.
Yeah, exactly. You got to turn it up, but it's
got to turn it up.
Yeah, but so after a lot of confusion and stuff like that, it was just a lot easier and sounded just great with the post tone stack master in there. So yeah, it just depends. I mean, I can do it both ways. I can do the old one still. I'm happy to do it. I still think it's got a really cool tone that is. It's kind
but
of.
Does the Cali have the cathode follower in it still?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just the original Cali did, yeah.
Oh, but current one.
The current one doesn't have the cathode follower.
Oh, so it's a plate driven tone stack now.
Yeah, plate fed. Yeah, exactly. So it's like 4-gain stages plate fed. But like I got it dialed in to the point where I was doing some A/B testing between 2 that I did identical, except for one had the cathode follower, one had the plate driven. Everything else in the circuit 100% the same, and the plate driven one just felt a bit nicer to play. Felt a little bit nicer under the fingers. It was a little bit more aggressive, kind of slightly more angry sounding, which I was shooting for, and it just worked great. So I was just like, you know what, this is the way I'll go forward with it. So it stayed like that ever since. But I like doing custom stuff, So if someone says to me like, "Oh, can we do a killer Cali, but can it have like the Jose master and stuff like that?" I'm like totally up for doing it, because you kind of get bored doing the same recipe of the same
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
all the
yeah,
time. I just like to switch it up sometimes. So
It's the whole R&D aspect to it, isn't it? Of doing mods.
yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of like feeling at the moment I might fancy doing that with that mod, changing things up a little bit at some point, you know, but we'll see. I'll still offer the same recipe that's available now, but I always feel like you can just go a little bit further and take it a little bit further forward and make things better over time. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, until you realize that, you know, you go down that path and you think you've made things better, and then you listen to something you did originally like years ago, and you're like,
I had it right back
fuck,
then.
I had it right to begin with, didn't I?
yeah, but you know what, that can change on a daily basis, can't it? You can listen to something and be like, oh fuck, this sounds so bad, you know, and then you come back the next day and you're like, what the fuck is wrong with me? This is a killer, you know, it's perfect. And it's just sometimes you have those bad tone days and good tone days. It's hard to know
for sure.
if it's the circuit or
is it our ears? Like it drives me crazy. Like what you're like, talking about, it's like it's so true, and it's kind of rare, but when you have it, you're just like, wow. It's like you can't even like work that day, you know?
No, totally.
Yeah, or nothing you can do to this amp makes it sound good. You're always still looking at the cabinet going, I don't like it.
Yeah.
So
like you think like, oh yeah, it's just one of those days, I'm just having a bad day, my ears don't work, and then you measure the wall voltage and you realize you're getting like 247 and then you're like, shit.
247. Jesus. Are you in Australia?
Sometimes it can be that high. Like it fluctuates, but like at the moment I'm getting like 237, 238, and it's great. Everything's sounding really nice. You know, give it a week.
UK is supposed to be 230, you know.
We haven't had 230 in like decades. It's been like it's most of the time.
Man, I always on the bench. I always run everything through the Variac, just because I don't know. It's just become a habit now. So
me too.
Yeah, exactly. I'll always Variac it and just check things.
But I always check. Man, I actually checked our wall voltage a couple of weeks ago, and then again maybe the few weeks before that. It's definitely lower here now.
Yeah,
I'm like not getting 240. It's more like 232, 233, quite consistent.
Oh, that's on the low side.
Yeah, it's really weird. Mine's low as well at the moment.
Yeah,
mine's 122 as of today. I just checked mine today.
Here in California, we got 118 pretty much.
Oh, pretty much. Probably where you want it.
118 to 120 max. Yeah. I did do an interesting experiment the other day. So at work, I have a Kikusui power supply where you can change the hertz whatever voltage you want, and in one increment voltages. So like, you know, I want 231. Okay. You can set the voltage, but I did an interesting experiment because I had an amp I had done for Japan. And it was a Plex amp, a super bass Plex amp, because they wanted it, because Mike Landau uses super bass Plex now. So and so I'm like, in Japan, some of the country's 50 hertz and some is 60 hertz. So I'm like,
at 100 volts, right?
I want to hear at 100 volts. Yeah. I want to hear what the difference is between 50 hertz and 60 hertz. Right here, right now on my bench. And fuck me if 50 hertz did not sound better. It was considerably fuller and juicier sounding and less top end.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, and I always kind of wondered that, you know. I mean, it wasn't like night and day difference, but I mean, it was enough where I'd notice. And because everyone said, oh, Marshalls always sound good at 50 hertz, 240, 50 hertz, or, you know. And I'm like, I'm going to test that right now. God damn, it sounded better at 50 hertz.
So say that again. What voltage was that at as well?
It was 100 volts, but I was just changing the hertz.
Yeah.
Because you can in that power supply.
Yeah.
We bought that power supply to test our transformers and stuff for export to see if they hum or they do anything weird at 50 hertz.
Yeah.
Which they occasionally can. but not anymore. I've learned recently, not any more than the nice Vietnamese Marshall transformers.
Yeah.
Boy, the power transformer just vibrating.
Yeah. Well, man.
Not the ring, but I have had that. I've had Haybor transformers even have the ring before. It's the vibration of the outer bell is just vibrates, and you just hit it with a hammer once.
That's right.
Put a little dent in the shell and then it fixes it. It doesn't vibrate anymore.
I had the one that I had two of them. I got a rubber mallet and smacked the side of the.
Yeah, I even told the customer that it was bugging him, and I go, "You're not playing loud enough if you're hearing that, by the way."
Yeah.
But yeah, I can hear it. It's just making this noise and it's like this ringing, and I'm like, "Get it? Okay, this is gonna sound weird, and if you don't want to do it, I understand. But get a hammer and hit the side bell of the transformer, and just put a tiny dent in it."
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, do it. That did it.
Yeah, just don't miss and like wipe out your quad tubes or something.
Yeah, I mean, don't miss.
Yeah, you gotta I mean, but you gotta be an expert,
please, and then hit the side of the end bell.
You got to be an expert amp tech, Dan, to
yeah.
But all the newer Marshall power transformers vibrate like crazy. Like they're not potted enough.
All the ones they've been using in the JVMs and the Vintage Modern was really bad for this.
Yeah,
the Vintage Modern they even tried to address it by putting like a spacer that went between the transformer and the chassis, and you can see at some point, some of the revisions as you get along. The early ones don't have it, and I think the guy who designed it was actually saying, "Yeah, give me a shout and I can send you it if you don't have it in your amp." And it helps, but it's still kind of like vibrating and ringing a little bit. The JVMs are terrible for this. You turn them on and you just hear that ring. They all do it. The Satriani one does it. The standard JVM does it. They all have that transformer ring, and they're all lay down transformer types.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
which is always the way. Some of those lay down transformers that were in the JMPs and things. You turn the power on, and you just feel it, and it's just vibrating like crazy. Yeah. So
I have a hand wired here that's relatively new one, and that I just did a whole elaborate. I don't know. That guy goes, "I want all the stuff in it that you put in your new Jose." I'm like going, "You want me to put everything that I did in that new one in here?" Yeah. Okay. I was kind of cursing as I'm doing it because it's like, God, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this. Oh fuck, I got to do that. Okay,
just send them.
It cost you a lot of money, man. Are you sure you want to do that?
Send them the pay, man.
It's like $1,500 later.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure, man.
Yeah, man. People.
I mean, there's a lot of guys out there that
add the loop, add everything. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it gets crazy expensive after doing all this stuff. Like when I'm doing like 3-channel mods and stuff, it's just.
Oh yeah, but it's also daunting. You're like looking at it going,
it's a big project, aren't they?
Well, yeah, it's all the drilling as well. Like I've got one that's like in the hallway at the minute, and it's just full of holes. I mean, it's going to be a 3-channel thing, and I think I counted that I drilled 34 holes in it.
Oh my god.
So we're talking, there's like four extra preamp tubes. There's a transformer in there. There's the whole front panel is drilled for extra controls, switches, literally end to end. It's a JCM 800 that's just drilled. The whole back panel is like covered in stuff. It's got like external bias, test points, everything on it. And I'm looking at it, and it's at that point where you've got all the hardware mounted, but you've got to like wire it all up, and I'm just sitting there thinking,
now now you need to just make it extremely sloppy, and then put silicone goop all over everything on the inside, and it'll be just like someone else's amps that we've seen before.
$8,000.
That video that you posted up. That one on Instagram back when you opened up that one that was full of goop and everything, and you're just freaking out.
That was like maybe the worst one I've ever seen. I mean, just looking in that, I'm like going, holy shit.
You're just like, oh.
Well, luckily it wasn't anything too far into the goop, so I was able to fix it pretty easy. But holy shit!
Yeah.
Oh yeah, do you remember that now?
Holy crap! That was that. When I opened it up, I just started laughing.
Hey, Brad's here. Hey, man.
Hey, Brad.
Oh, hey, Brad.
So, Brad.
Adrian's asking. Awesome, thank you, guys. Do any of you know the British amp designer Paul Stevens? He worked at Trace Elliott and is now at Blackstar.
I don't know him. I've heard of him, but I don't actually know him.
I don't know.
I think Blackstar are not actually like. I don't think they're based far away from me. I think they're like Chelmsford or something like that. And I'm in Billericay, so it's really not. It's not very far away. But I don't really have connections with those guys, so I don't know.
Oh, it sounds like a future guest for Tone Talk.
Yeah.
Exactly. Here's an interesting question. Just skim read it. I'm not too sure what the question is here, but let's have a go. Hi guys, I'm always interested in exploring new sounds in circuit design. Currently, I'm looking into transformer-based harmonics via variable impedance LDRs. Have any of you guys been experimenting? Yes, but not with that stuff.
Yeah, definitely not with that.
No, me neither.
Be more like, what if I use this kind of cap? Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah. I'm not super like crazy deep on the tech stuff. I know what I know and I know how to use what I know, but I can't explain most of the stuff that I know.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. You know what's funny, and I don't want to dog on anybody, the dudes that can run you around with all the literature and all that stuff on exactly how everything perfectly should work and all that stuff, those dudes cannot make an amp to save their lives.
No.
But they can tell you how everything works perfectly, and they're super knowledgeable and they can write books about it, but they can't make a damn amp.
Yeah, well, you got at some point you got to get your hands dirty, haven't you? You can't just read books every day and become a good amp guy. You've got to practice. You've got to try things. You've got to make mistakes. You've got to you've got to listen to terrible sounding circuits till you get like a great one. It's like it's time and it's effort and it's experience and
a lot of
not
experience,
all fun stuff.
Yeah,
no, and I think the more years you have doing it, the more amps that you've worked on. I mean, there's some amazing engineers that do some amazing things, but they've never actually done a lot of repair work or anything.
Yeah.
So they can't repair anything to save their life, or they don't even know where to look, really. It's interesting. It's like the difference between book learning and street smarts.
Yeah.
There's a big difference.
Yeah.
Well said, man. That's perfectly put.
And I've at this point in time in my life, I have literally worked on thousands upon thousands of amplifiers.
Yeah.
And all vintages and all kinds, from the earliest of everything through Fenders to Voxes to high watts, this, that, blah, 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 everything under the sun. Every mod known to mankind I've seen the inside of. You learn a lot after a while.
You do.
Oh, yeah.
You learn things that go wrong. You learn things that consistently go wrong with things. You can repair things faster because you just know right away.
It's actually about building that.
It's probably that.
Like with resolving faults. Obviously, with the more you do it, the more you get to make the connection. When you get an amp on the bench and you can observe it faulty, and like, oh well, I've seen this before. But I think the other thing, back to the thing about making an amp sound good, or that thing is like, I think over time you get to the point where you can listen to an amp and play it, and you go, I want it to sound like this. You actually know what to change. You start to develop that connection between how something sounds and how it feels with what part of the circuit is actually contributing mostly to that. Right? Yeah. So, which you can only develop by doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an experience
theory's
thing.
not gonna. Yeah, the theory will tell you how it's working, but it's not going to tell you how it sounds.
No, it's just the experience. getting your hands dirty and actually like doing all these things, it's like there's things you learn that you'll never ever learn otherwise unless you actually experience it right in front of you, on your bench. And then the thing is also though, like I'm sure it's the same with you guys. Like I can think about a sound that I want to chase, and if I sit there with a pen and paper, I can draw out a schematic, and I would say if I can draw it out and already have about a 90% accurate picture of what it's going to be in the end.
Yeah.
Like, so I already know what I'm shooting for, and I know exactly how to get it. And that comes from experience, from doing it so many times and trying different things. You're like, oh, okay, I know exactly where I want that particular cathode value to be. I want that plate to be there. I need it to be in this kind of, there's so many things, from experience of doing this stuff that you just start to be able to navigate it in a way where it's like, okay, I want to do this, write it out. Yep, 90% there, just needs a little bit of tweaking. And you can't learn that from books. Doesn't work.
No, that's right. No. That's that connection between the tone and the circuit, which you have to actually do. I mean, I get so many questions from the DIY crowd, people emailing me, direct messaging or whatever, right? Obviously through the Evolve DIY stuff. And, I try and be as helpful as I can, but it just takes time. And so often I'll just like say, you just have to try it.
Yeah,
you have to experiment, because if you don't
just have to
start experimenting, you won't know anything. You won't.
And that's the whole fun. If you're gonna if you're gonna go to the effort of building your own amp, then have some fun with it.
Yeah. Like, the last thing you want is somebody telling you how to do the whole thing.
Yeah.
You just don't want to copy things one part. It's like you want to experiment to see how it works.
Yeah, and it's like everything you do, certain circuits, even if you do them the same, like that you've done a million times before, there's going to be one out of every so many that isn't going to come out sounding right, and it's not going to work if you use the same recipe you did before.
No, you have to.
You've got, and then it's like a chef, like tweaking the recipe.
You have to massage it.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to massage it, because
you've really got to work it.
Yeah, you hear it. You do the same thing. You hear it, and you're like, man, that's really bright in this amp. Why is this really bright? Then you start looking at things like voltages and different things throughout the amp and seeing where stuff's at. And maybe you adjust some of that stuff, and you're like, yeah, it's still kind of bright. Maybe the phase inverter cap will be 100 picofarad instead of 50, or maybe it'll be 150 instead of 50. Maybe it just darken it a little bit there, sweeten it a little bit there, and then all of a sudden, eventually you get to a point where you've massaged it enough where you're like, right there, I like that. Great. Done.
Exactly.
Like it's only from experience that you know when to get the hammer out and smack.
Exactly.
You won't read about that in the books. For sure.
And sometimes it's shit. You even don't. Like, I've had it before where it's like, this amp just doesn't sound good. And then like you change the output coupler caps to new ones that are kind of closer in matched values and stuff. You put them in and you're like, there, it's fixed. Sounds great now. Maybe one of them was slightly leaking DC and you didn't really know it, or maybe something, Yeah.
It's little things sometimes that you can totally overlook, it's
and
weird.
You always check in on the scope also, because you got to see what it's doing also, because you got to see, sometimes you can't hear oscillations and you can see it on the scope and you're like, oh, look at that little notch there. What the fuck is that?
Yeah. Then you got to dig deeper and find where
then you got to find how to fix that little notch.
Yeah.
We got a question here about the slightly less popular Marshall 20-watt 2061. Is that the lead and bass 20? Is that amp?
I think it is. Yeah,
I think so. I think it's the
20-watt
Marshall.
Paul Gilbert was using one of these for a minute there, wasn't he?
This is the one that has the input jacks in the middle of the amp.
Yeah,
right.
Probably, yeah.
Two channels kind of split, like
yeah.
That's that one.
Okay, yeah,
it's the original 20-watt.
This is an EL84 powered amp, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
ELE
that's
4s
awesome.
at 17 watts plate dissipation.
Yeah, these are cool.
Yeah, I never worked on one.
Oh, I owned an old one once. It was really wicked, actually. And there was another one that I worked on for a client of mine that has a massive collection of amps. His little 20-watt one sounded fucking the best thing I've ever heard. I mean, you just crank it all up, and it just sounded like the best plexi you've ever heard. It's awesome.
Very cool. Yeah, I got to check one of those out.
Yeah, I'd like to.
So what is he asking?
Just our
comment.
comments.
Oh, he just comments on it. Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
is
it's
what
really
we've been
super
doing.
cool, man.
Yeah. I've never played a
I
real
based
one,
all my
but
20-watt power sections on that power section of that amp.
it was one of the
Which is
first. This was one of the very first amps that I built. Like, you know, when I was just literally starting out. I
Right.
built one of these from a kit.
Mm.
And, I mean, I don't have it anymore. I ended up selling it, but yeah, like just a you know, good old non-master volume Marshall, pretty simple design, but you got to crank it. There's no gain until you fucking put it on 10, and then it's pretty loud.
Does it take the boost nicely?
Huh?
Does it take like OD pedals and stuff nicely, like drive pedals and boosts and things?
You can set it up like that. It's just like kind of like you got to think of it a bit like a plexi style affair. You know, you can kind of set it clean or crunchy, and it goes, but it's very volume dependent. You know, like it's
and it's loud still.
Yeah, loud as hell.
Yeah, exactly. 20 watts is still loud.
Yeah, it's cranking.
Still uncomfortable to be in the same room with when it's cranked.
Yeah, definitely. We got a question here from Peter. Hey guys, I got a pair of new old stock Amperex 12 AX7s for my Runt 50, Dave, in V1 and V2, which sound great. What would you recommend for the cathode follower position?
Well, what's in it? I mean, if it was an earlier Run 50, it had Shugong 12AX7s, which are great. Amprex is fantastic for first preamp too. It's probably one of my favorites. And you might not need it in the clean channel, which is where you have V1 is the clean channel only. You probably don't need to waste that tube in that slot. Unless you just particularly really love it, use your ears. I don't know. It depends on what you have in the other slots. I mean, traditionally I like the Shugong Chinese for the rest of the slots in the amp cathode follower. I hate a JJ ECC 83 in a cathode follower. Don't like that at all. The long plate works in the cathode follower. I don't mind the long plate JJs for the other two stages if you don't have access to the Chinese tubes.
Okay.
It's pretty good.
That's the 803S, isn't it?
803S works pretty well. Like so recently we just had, of course, a scare about not getting so in the Jose amp I was going to use the Shugongs for everything but V1 and V2, which for microphonics, when you're doing large production, you kind of have to use a JJ in there. It's just you can't hand select between a box of 100 preamp tubes to find the 10 that work in the first slots. Oh my God, it would take forever. You'd never get through anything. So I was going to use Shugong, and then they'd had those 145% tariffs. Fuck you. And then it was like, well, we can't use those. I'm like, oh man, what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
Then I'm like, all right, if I have to, push comes to shove, I'll use the long plates in the other two slots because it sounds better than all of the other ones. But then I A-B'd it. So then they changed the tariffs, and then they was like, well, what do you want to do? Well, let me A-B it real quick. So I A-B'd it on amp on the bench, and I'm like, yeah, the Shugongs are still a little bit better. I would rather have those if we can get them, so let's get those. So
Dave, what do you think of the JJ E
ECC 83? That's better.
The
I like
E.
that.
What is the
ECC
difference?
83, I think. ECC 83.
S.
S maybe.
Yeah.
It's brighter.
Yeah, it is
That's
bright.
one of my
yeah.
It's
favorite
cooler.
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
a E83cc. That's what it is.
E83cc.
That's it. Yeah,
Oh.
I bought a bunch of them before, and they're like,
E83.
Yeah.
it's an E83cc
Frame grid tube or something.
Yeah, and it's totally
It's totally
good.
bright and cool.
It's bright. Yeah, it's bright, and it's not like a JJ ECC
Oh, okay.
83S.
Are they more expensive?
Yeah.
I've never had one of these.
For me, they're a tiny little bit more expensive.
A little bit more?
But,
We buy directly from JJ, so like
yeah,
we get some pretty good direct prices from them.
yeah.
But even with the new tariffs for the Shugong tubes, I mean, and you know, when they announced those tariffs, they said, "Hey, it's going to be 30%." Right? No. It's 30% on top of the tariffs that were in place before.
Mm.
So it's more like
actually
50%.
Yeah.
It's 50%. All right. So if it costs you $1, it's costing you $1.50. If it costs, you know, if it costs $9, it's costing, you know. But I think still
$14.50.
at the price we could get them for, plus the tariff, it still came in right where JJ sat anyway.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, I'm glad that worked out.
Well, yeah. But everything's gone up.
Yeah.
All your capacitors, everything you use has gone up.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah,
You're lucky, Dan. So are you, Jason.
I'm lucky. We're lucky in terms of stuff that I source from Asia. There's no doubt about that.
Yes.
Because it's pretty much free trade.
Unless you buy it into the US.
Yeah. So if I'm buying from a US supplier that's bought it in from Asia, which is kind of sounds crazy, but I have done that in the past. Yeah, I wouldn't do that again. But you know, there's always ways around it, right? You just gotta change direction, navigate, find a way through it.
Yeah.
There's no ways around it when you're a large company like we are.
Yeah.
I was pretty lucky because I front loaded the shit out of basically tubes, transformers, chassis. Like before all that stuff hit, I already had runs of amps in stock of stuff. So I was really lucky. So hopefully by the time I get back to reordering stuff, everything will be settled out decently.
You'll be raising your prices.
I don't want to do that.
I understand. Well,
they're already high, so you know. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll see. So Brad, get a dog up. Yeah. So you guys heard this saying before?
No, I've never heard that saying.
It's a classic Aussie slang coming out here.
Yeah. What does that mean exactly?
It just means like hello.
Oh, okay.
I don't think they know. I've asked that too, and I don't think I ever get a real answer.
Sometimes it's get a big hairy dog up. Yeah, it's another. I'm sure Brad's used that on his live streams many times. It's just like, I don't know, like g'day or something. You know, like they can have a good one. Have a good one. You know,
doesn't sound like a good day getting a dog up here.
It doesn't sound too nice, really.
No, it's not. It's just, you just don't want to think about it too much.
Yeah. You don't want to like.
You just don't think about it too much. You just take it. Like, okay, it just means like have a good one, you know. All right, I'm gonna hit these couple of super chats we got here. Son of Pyro recently watched a YouTube video of a guy microwaving a preamp tube. Context unknown. Faith in humanity restored. I love it. Anyway,
faith in humanity restored. I don't know if it would be restored for me, but okay.
The question is why.
We're burning in tubes today, boys.
Yeah, that's it.
Microwave.
I have to think with the metal that wouldn't have been a good result.
No.
Or the microwave. Yeah. Or the tube.
We're gonna have to
look at
that.
Yeah, preheating them.
Yeah. This is
it's like the cryogenic thing on tubes. I'm like going, come on.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
fuck
a
yourself.
whole new level of AC.
Yeah, it's
heaters.
just like go. You know, I mean, really?
Yeah.
See, so we're gonna make the tubes really cold, and then
Yeah.
it's gonna be better. Really? Okay.
Yeah, man, the mind boggles. All right. Anyway, I dig these monthly chats. Thanks for keeping these going. Yeah, man, no worries.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for.
You have two nice
Thanks for
amps in
hanging
your
out.
picture.
Yeah,
There we go.
Yeah.
got the orange one there.
Orange Plex and a
Orange
twin
Plex.
sister.
Yeah,
Orange looks cool.
cool. Burke himself. Hey man, thanks for the super chat. Do any of you guys do a no cathode follower mod on a 2204? Yeah, I think everyone's had a crack at that.
Sure.
Any current?
You can do a snorkeler mod.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun. If you like a lot of gain.
Yeah. We like a lot of gain.
So
Speaking of a lot of gain, anyone ever dabbled into the Langner mods?
Me.
Oh yeah.
Those are fun. Oh,
Yeah.
you worked on the one I worked on. I worked on it. You worked on it. Someone else
Yeah.
worked on it.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the one. Yeah, I remember you posting that video, Shay, but back in the day.
Cameron worked on it.
Cameron had had it.
Yeah.
Dave, you'd had it.
Yep.
Shay, you
So
had
was
it.
there
Someone
actually
else?
anything? Was there actually anything Langner left in it by the time?
Yeah, no, there was no. It was totally mostly Langner.
It was mostly
cool.
Langner. Yeah, it sure was.
Was it just the standard Langner thing, like that you see in most of them, or was it different?
Yeah, so this was so all 100K plate resistors, all 2.7K cathode resistors with the 0.47 caps across all the stages, and then it had like the 22 nanofarad out of one stage, 470K, 68K to ground.
That's him.
And then I think it had across that 68K, I think it had like 1,000 puff cap too, or something, or somewhere right there.
Yeah.
In a couple stages.
Yeah.
And it just did that, and then eventually there's a 0022, and it's this.
Yeah.
Gary Holt one, but with the high frequency caps, the bleed caps in it.
Yeah, you did I don't know if it was you or Cameron that did the voltage drop mod on the power transformer. There was like a little that must have been Cameron then. Just use the polarity switch to switch the
I might have.
Yeah, I thought you did.
I might have done that. Yeah, I might have done that. I remember when the first time I worked on it, of course, the guy wasn't happy with it. Whoever owned it at the time was upset about it or something. And it's like the only thing that was really wrong with it was that the effects loop would oscillate that he had in it. And I think I changed some values.
The tube loop. Yep.
Tube loop. I think I changed some values in the tube loop so it wasn't super hot like it was. And then he didn't like it because it wasn't enough gain.
Yeah.
Wait,
I thought that.
Let me rephrase that. It wasn't enough gain.
Tons of gain.
Can you put more gain in it? Yeah. And I'm like, no.
Well, then there was the hyper mod.
Which was that? What was that?
The hyper mod is the control on the back of some of the DCP preamps that they did.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So it was like I think it's like an adjustable treble peaker. That's on
that little.
I think it's like on one of the dividers. I can't remember it.
So one of the dividers that has a little treble peaker that's a.
Yeah, and you've
like a 22 nanofarad and then adjustable something to.
A resistor
you're just limiting it with a resistor, aren't you? It's that kind of thing. To be honest, you can do that like on all the other stages, like in varying amounts if you want to kind of change the voice.
Tune it in.
Yeah, because like otherwise sometimes those circuits are a little bit like round, like when you play them, because they're not like the most defined gainy things. They've got like a response to them where I think they work really good with like EMGs because the EMGs have already got that low impedance percussive thing happening and it stays tight when you go through all that gain. But if you use passive pickups, that Langner thing, if you're not careful, it can get tubby because you
I
know the
think that's
gain is
coupling
just out
caps
of
too.
Well, yeah, I mean, as soon as you get to like 10 o'clock on the gain with that circuit, it's already like really starting to get compressed and like gets that kind of pumping effect that you get when you dig in. It's like woofy. So there's loads of things you can do with those circuits to make them even tighter and more percussive, more aggressive, and all that. And you know
that exact amp, I'm pretty sure about this. That exact amp that Dave you worked on and Shay that you worked on, it's recently resurfaced on a couple of the amp forums. So guy 46 and 2, I don't know who he is. I just know that that's his. His amp on. He's on like Slow Clone forums and Rig Talk and other places, and he documented that amp. He made I don't know what he did to it. He did some other changes as well, but still around.
Yeah.
It's
a cool circuit though. I think it's sounds great for what it is.
All right.
I found it funny when I saw that circuit originally because it was what I inadvertently basically did on the HPE circuit. You know, because it was a Langner. Langner was a 470K to a 68K to ground. Mine was a 1 meg with a 68K to ground, right? So it was inadvertently, and I had never seen one before. I had already done that, and I'm like, that's interesting.
Same kind of idea, right?
Yeah.
I did replace a couple caps in that amp because they when I got it, it had some polystyrenes in it, and they were burnt to shit. So I bought some new ones. And
the polystyrenes were the ones that were bleeding. Were the ones that would bleed signal to ground.
I
think they were probably original. Yeah, they were probably original when he modified it because I've seen a bunch of them that had the polystyrene caps in there.
So Son of Pyro is saying that the Bloody Mary is a Jose modded V8 juice.
There you go.
Very good. Okay, so question here: did you guys see the Jim Gustav Brown sound models that came out? Is that the IK Multimedia pack or whatever? The models that have, I mean, I saw a few videos. I think Michael Nielsen had just done one. A couple of other people. I think that's what you might be referring to.
Yeah, I think it is that.
Sound good?
Sounding great from what I heard in the clips.
Yeah, sounds great.
Yeah.
We're gonna have Jim's gonna come on Tone Talk this month and talk about that.
Oh, cool. That's awesome. He's great, man.
Yeah.
He's great.
I mean, they list all the specs. It was all like the EVH spec, you know, plexi kind of thing. With the right cabs and the right everything.
Yeah.
Angel 502. Hi guys. Any thoughts on using a PV 5050, that's the EL84, or an Engel E840 5851 power amp to temporarily drive an 18-inch home theater sub bridged at 4 ohms and playing from 40 down to 10 hertz?
I mean, probably not the best choice.
No,
I don't even want to comment
probably
on
not
it.
the best choice, but it
Give it a
should
go.
work.
Yeah, it'll work. It won't sound terrible. There's probably better choices for power amps to do that.
The PB5050 was a great guitar power amp.
I like the 6060 as well.
Yeah, those were great.
I've still got like the 6060 or the 120.
And the 120 was also great.
Yeah, but it weighs a fucking ton.
Yeah,
it's so heavy. It's like it's ridiculous. It's like massive transformers inside that thing.
Yeah. 6060 was EL34s, wasn't it?
Yeah,
or was it 606s? 606s, maybe.
Yeah, it was probably 606.
Because all the PV stuff at that time was 606s, with even the Marshall power sections. Because those were basically the same power sections that were in like the Butcher and the VTM and stuff. Just shoved in that.
Yeah.
Which are great.
It's a great sounding one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's a common question. Sleepy War says, I once switched on my amp and didn't realize the speaker was disconnected for about 30 seconds. How long can you do this without damaging the amp?
Well, to be honest, you can, if you're not playing through the amp, you can just leave it that way.
Yeah,
And it won't
forever.
hurt anything at all. It's when you play
Yeah.
through it is when you're going to do the damage.
Yep.
So you're not going to cause any problems with that for 30 seconds.
Yeah,
You're
You
playing
know how
through
many
it,
times?
but-
You know how many times you're on the bench and you go to start to fire up the amp and you play something, you're like, oh shit, speaker cable.
yeah,
I mean, that
the
happens
time.
all the fucking time.
yeah.
All the time.
It's only a problem when you got guys who have like not got it connected or the jacks like only just like
Or they keep
it's not
playing
making
through it.
connection. Yeah, and they're like, oh, I got no volume, and they're cranking the master up to 10,
Oh,
like whacking the strings.
yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then
Preamp becomes a smoke
poof.
machine.
Well, you hope a fuse blows at that point.
Yeah.
I
And
actually had a guy here.
not the output transformer.
Oh, that's right. I actually had a guy here a couple of weeks ago, and I had his amp. I think he bought it on a JMP or something like that, and I wanted to hear it while he was here before he, left, because trying to diagnose maybe what was wrong with it. And I turned it on. I hadn't plugged the speaker cable in, but I just powered it on. Took it out of standby while I was, finding where my speaker cable was, and he was like, "You don't have it. You don't have the speaker cable plugged in." So it's all right, man. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not playing through the amp yet. Don't worry about it.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I bias the amps without anything connected. I just turn the volumes at 0 and just have it on the bench,
Yeah. It's totally safe. It's not a problem.
Everyone's
Tracy's
so
back
worried.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, you know what? It's also the same thing with the standby switch. So many people go, "Oh, when you turn it on, you have to wait 5 minutes with it in standby, otherwise the thing will blow up." It's got to warm up. You've got to give it time. It has to.
You know how I switch things on? I just like both switches click.
Yeah, 100%.
I never use the standby switch. It's on or it's off.
It's just
I
like
just leave the standby switch on and just toggle the mains. It's like-
I do too. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just they're just a tech convenience, aren't they? Just.
I wish I hadn't have put a standby switch on the twin sister amp because it's nothing but problems with the tube rectifier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's better if you just use the power switch. And in fact, if I ever do this in the future, it'll just be a power switch. And the AC30 that's coming will just have a power switch.
There you go.
Right.
It's a lot safer too. Like if you're working on an amp where if the standby switch is one of those kind of like it where it interrupts the B+ line.
Yeah.
After the
You
main
still got
stuff
full
goes,
voltage there.
you want to leave the standby switch on and just turn it off, and then at least the B+ will drain out of the caps.
You know what? Also, the Marshall 1959 hand-wired series.
Yeah.
The hand-wired plexis. I've replaced so many dead standby switches in those things. Because
Those white ones.
Yeah, because the standby switch is after the B+.
Yeah.
So
It's like traditional, like the old ones.
Yeah, and it always fails.
Yeah.
I've probably done 7 or 8 of those switches.
All right.
So I always say to people, just don't.
You got to
use
put the
it.
cap across the switch.
It's got the cap across it.
Oh, it does?
Still fails.
Still fails?
Still fails. Yeah, I've had to replace 6 or 7 of them. I think it's just that particular switch they use. It just can't handle it. It's a weird one.
I don't remember what was the switch they used.
Um,
Don't they
the
use
white
the
one, isn't it?
APEMs? Oh, I think they do now.
yeah, it's been a while.
The
since I've actually
white
worked with them.
APEM switches are,
It's
I
got
think,
the
the ones
white-
they're using
the white one.
currently.
Yeah, I think those white ones are a bit stronger.
Those are great switches.
Yeah, they've been using them since, so probably they had the same issues at the factory.
We had to switch to those because of regulatory things. We even got a big white APEM switch that's 3 poles.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Oh, we had to. We needed it for the Plex. We have lots of them if anyone needs some.
Yeah. I still really like toggle switches, but I just like them because the colors and shit.
Yeah, but
I love them.
finding them and using them, and it's like
I like those ones that you see on the VHTs. The
the green ones.
Yeah,
They're great.
yeah, they do them in all different colors, don't they?
I think. I don't know.
Yeah, they do them in green, red, orange. They do some others.
The power station uses a green one, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Yeah, the user agreement. I've used loads of them over the years in Marshall mods. Like if you want to kind of make them look a little bit unique, like JCM 800s, I use them on both the power and the standby, and they just look cool.
They do look cool.
Yeah, they're a little bit bigger though than the Marshall chassis cutout.
Oh, great.
So yeah, well, the trick to it I found is you can actually modify the switch a little bit, and then it fits.
Okay, good.
Yeah, you just take the Dremel,
fun times, man.
Yeah,
like sitting there with a file.
Oh man, I did that for years. Like I was like,
I mean, like
working at it with a file and everything.
no.
I don't do that anymore.
No,
I just modify the switch. It's totally good. It's like rock solid.
Yeah,
Just have to grind one side of it off, you know.
It's not fun at all. Marvel Harris is asking.
Hey, I'm gonna hit the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back.
All right, man. Marvel Harris is asking Dave, when you do a 36 mod, I guess, or a 34, do you use?
It would be a 36 if it is what he's talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah,
it's not 01, it's a 0.1.
It's 0.1.
Yeah, it's 0.1.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, the
wait, I think I did.
as well, isn't it?
Shit, I just did one of those for someone.
Yeah,
I just did one of those for someone, and I'm wondering now what I did. I have it written down. I think I did. Isn't that part of it? That's normally part of it, right? 36.
Yeah, it's a 34.
Well, first of all, no one really knows what a 36 is, to be honest.
No,
not exactly. So it's your take on it. I just did a mod for someone that was a 36 and a 34 in one thing. So I had to do my take on it. So that there's actually a pretty good schematic out there that someone posted that does 30, 34, 36, and 39.
Yeah.
All in one thing if you have enough switches. And I think I just did 2 of them, but
yeah.
I
Same
think,
what I did with mine, yeah.
There used to be some reasonable schematics on that stuff. I think on the Amp Garage. I don't know if that site's even still around.
Yeah, but it's still like up in the air on what it actually is. And then
the closest I've got with it was I've got some photos of an early Tim Caswell modded one. And that's got that thing in it. It's even been done to a Super Trem. And it's got 2 game controls. He was doing it back then with 2 game controls. One of them's a push pull. Yeah. One of them's your standard like 2.
One's the gain stage in and out with the extra pot. Yeah.
Exactly that. Yeah, and it's
which is what I did.
That's exactly what I did. Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I just
it sounded great when I was done.
It's brilliant.
I had to tweak it for a while, a little bit, like fine tune it a little bit, but like when it was done, I'm like, oh yeah. And then here's the 34 one. Okay, yeah, that's the 34 one, which is insanely bright.
Yeah,
it's very bright.
It's cool though.
I think the main thing is it's a 0.1. Yeah, not 0.01.
Yeah.
So anyone who wants to try 0.1.
Yeah,
Shay knows all about the 0.1s.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Which was called 0.1 over the modern switch on my old mods.
You love to remind me of that. You love to remind me of that, Dave.
I'm like, and by the way, I came up with that before I ever did anything with the slash amp. But
yeah, it looks
that is a cool.
It is.
I mean, it's a little too much for some people, for sure. But it does have a cool thing to it, snarl to it.
What, the 10K with the 0.1?
Yeah,
totally. Yeah,
it's intense.
Yeah,
it's definitely got a particular.
You ever do that do you ever do that in a rectifier?
Yeah, but
instead of the 39 stage or 36 stage, you put a 10K with a 0.1 across. Holy fuck!
Yeah. Yeah, it's really it's a lot. Yeah.
You've done that.
Over the 39K.
Yeah.
I did. You know what I did?
It's also good if you do like the 0.1, but you put like a little resistor in line with the 0.1.
Yeah, just to tame it down a bit.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's not really different to like what the Bogner mod thing is, like the 2004 mod, is it? It's a similar thing.
Yeah.
And you can just kind of then like adjust how much you want.
Yeah, you see that in the
this stuff in and adjust it and listen to it and play it, and then I'm like, okay, there's the sweet spot. Measure it, resistance, bang, job done.
The Sir SE100, which I think is based on the
that's similar to that too. It's got the
thing.
2 stages, 10K stages, and then it has
it's got the resistor in series with the 0.1 to just dial it back a bit.
Yeah,
it's cool. Brad's saying,
hold on. I just want to say that rectifier you're talking about, that 10K with the 0.1.
Yeah.
So I got on a frequency calculator and I looked up that certain frequency curve that makes, and I put in 39K and I went through all the values and I found the frequency curve of that and used that certain component. I'm not gonna say what it is. It's tiny, but it acts the exact same way on a switch. So super cool. You can do that stuff with much higher values if you just have the curve. Also, if you put like a 1, then you just get a fuzz circuit at that point, which is hilarious. If you ever want to try that, that's super fun.
Yeah,
it's great having this stuff like on switches.
Decade boxes and
box in.
Yeah,
it's really cool. You can hear how it all interacts.
I don't know what you played for your power supply at the factory there, Dave, but Brad's saying the $4,500 for a Kikasui over here.
Well, you got to buy. Well, I had the 500 MA one because I'm only doing 1 amp at a time, so it's enough for what we're doing. Yeah. It is. It is that.
It's an investment anyway.
Although you generally get them refurbished and you buy them used, so that it cuts the cost in half of a new one. But that's still expensive.
Yeah.
We've got a question here about any reason why toroidal transformers are not regularly used in valve amps. Size, weight, costs, or just not fit for purpose.
Laney used them a lot.
Yeah. For power PTs particularly. Did they use many for output transformers?
No, just the PTs.
That Crab guy's using them. I saw that. I think.
Yeah, I mean it's honestly it's probably fine for power transformers.
Yeah.
Early Ignitor amps had them as power transformers. But yeah, the VH4, like the Laney VH4 and stuff, which actually a pretty good sounding amp. That had them. So did some of the other ones. Yeah,
I had it was a while ago. It was a GH100 or the GL. I don't know. That had toroidal PT in it. It's kind of an 800 circuit with an extra gain stage, I think, Dan, from memory.
Yeah, and it's not dissimilar to the Tony Iommi one they made as well.
Right.
Yeah. It was I think that was a GH100 TI or something, right? And it's nearly the same sort of thing. And Paul Gilbert used to use those things all the time.
Yeah, actually some of those GH100s and stuff were great amps. Sounded really good.
They're really cool. I always thought it was Paul Gilbert's best sound he ever got. Like, I wish he'd go back to it.
I mean, the VH4 amp they made too, or the VH, whatever the VH amp, VH100, VH100. Yeah, one VH100R, is it? Yeah, okay.
That's it. Yeah, Timmons.
That was a good sounding amp, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And if you really look back at the circuits and you're just like looking at the circuits on a schematic, and looking at what Laney was doing in the early 80s, and you see the whole lineage of everything that came after. Yeah, they were kind of first almost. They were the first hot rodded thing.
Yeah.
They didn't get a lot of traction with it really, but and with a couple tweaks, they could have been amazing.
Yeah.
Right. But if you look at the first gain stage shoving into basically a JCM 800 kind of circuit, if you just look at that on paper, you're like, well, I could see if you just change this and this and this, it would be amazing.
Yeah.
It'd be really, really good. And but they were way ahead of their time, I think.
Yeah, they made great stuff
for what they were doing, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got Alex here. Love watching your live chats, guys. I've got a Monomyth modded Jubilee that Shay did. Absolute monster. Appreciate our chats on Messenger, Shay. Thanks heaps, mate.
Right.
So the
thank you, man.
You're in.
He's in Australia.
Yeah, I was going to say he's in Perth.
He's awesome, man.
You're up bloody early, man. You're up very early for this chat.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's got this guy has definitely got gain hands.
Yeah,
So,
it's got gaming hands. Yeah,
everything that he posts is just sounds amazing.
Yeah,
so,
he's good. Alex is a good player.
Yeah, really appreciate it too, man.
Yeah.
So Jason, is this about what time you normally get up?
For me, well, we're coming up to 9 a.m., so I'll definitely be up and yeah. I'm normally like look, honestly, 8 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's not too far out of the ballpark then.
No reason to get up earlier than that. 8 o'clock. Yeah,
I'm 7 a.m. all the time.
Yeah, so it was 6:30 this morning because I had to make a Bloody Mary before I got on.
This is important things, you know. Have you drank it
all yet? Just a little bit more time.
Have you drank it all yet? Those important things.
Up to here.
He's got some fruit juice
Oh,
there.
come on.
Some high C.
My coffee. I have my coffee.
Dan's poured 4 drinks already.
Yeah. I'm gonna be like this in a few minutes.
I'm on my 3rd beer.
Yeah, well, you know, like it's a Sunday afternoon. I'd be well onto the beers by now for sure.
Yeah, I've still got half a bottle to go.
Someone asked me that the other night on Tone Talk on Friday. I started a bottle of tequila and I'm drinking the tequila of the show, you know. And I made a comment somewhere else, or maybe even in this chat, they made a comment. Did you drink all that tequila? I go, are you what? No, I didn't drink the whole bottle. Fuck. It's still here, sitting over there on the counter. I have it.
Yeah. So, man, Shay, you got someone here who's following you up on an email that he's been sending you about what we call the Husansky amp.
Yeah.
Mark's.
Yeah. I'll get to. I'll check that out tomorrow, man, for sure. I've been a little flooded on communication lines, man. So
blink twice if you got my email and would be able to do it. You know, if you heard,
I could look at it now. Hold on, hold on.
Tech Metal Rules. If you were here for the beginning of the stream, you would have heard Shay's story about his life and death.
Yeah,
I can tell you there's a lot. There's a lot of emails. There's
been a few things on.
You got to clear those out, man, daily.
Well, I try, but I'm also like in the middle. So it's a lot. I'm into a 22 amp build right now. So
I know, but it's wake up early in the morning.
Oh, no, I do.
Answer the emails.
I reply to them, but there's a lot. There's a lot. I can't post anything on Instagram without getting 20 messages right away, or Facebook. And I still try to post there. It's just really, I need to get a damn secretary, man. How the hell do we do that?
Yeah, it's interesting about Facebook. So Facebook, as far as a platform, might not be as cool as Instagram and all that stuff for the younger people and stuff, but because of all the groups that are on Facebook.
Yeah.
And because of the community that's still there, actually, with all the groups and stuff, it's kind of an important platform.
Yeah.
Like if you want to sell things, there's a big crowd on the Facebook that's going to buy things maybe more than Instagram.
Yeah.
So you have to do both. I think I do both.
Yeah. I find both are unique. And
I don't give up on one. I don't because there's all the groups and stuff on Facebook.
Yeah, you different crowds, right?
And the groups are cool.
There's people that only have Instagram that don't go on Facebook, and vice versa as well. So.
I have to monitor like the Friedman groups and stuff, so I got to kind of, just scroll and see if anyone needs questions answered real quick.
And some of the responses in that group, Dave.
Oh, fuck me.
Speaking of standby switch, there was another thread. I don't know why I even started reading it. Someone posted about standby switch in your group yesterday. Thankfully, Bruce jumped in.
Feel free to post what you think I would say.
Stop it.
Stop now.
Stop the madness.
I often it's like, here's the problem I'm having, blah, 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 blah. And they're telling him it's the preamp tubes, it's the power tubes. And I just, no, it's your Wi-Fi router in the room, you idiots. Because the video is plain as day. Like you hear this Wi-Fi, RF kind of thing coming into the amp. I go, no, it's not anything.
Or it's your phone.
Turn off your repeater
Yeah.
or your phone or your Wi-Fi router. Don't put your amp next to your Wi-Fi router, because that constant thump, 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 thump.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, sorry, that's not the amp.
That's a Wi-Fi router for sure.
Or the other one that gets me, I'm getting this buzz through my amp. Okay, so it's a high gain amp, right? So do you get the buzz with the guitar volume off or the guitar cable unplugged from the amp? No.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, it's not the amp then.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's got all this buzz. My other amp doesn't do it. What's your other amp? Well, I used like 3 pedals and a Fender Twin. Yeah. Okay. Or I had the other ones that were fucking mind-boggling to me. They sent me a video and they have the guitar on a stand a good ways away, maybe like 15 feet away, right, with the cable to the amp and not touching the guitar. And the guitar volume's wide open. It's making all this noise. Yeah, no shit.
No shit, man. That's insane.
Well, my other amp doesn't do it. What's your other amp? It's a Fender.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's clean.
Yeah.
You can leave the guitar open across the room with clean. You won't hear hardly anything.
Right.
Yeah, there's
Painful.
RF, and everyone's RF little bubble is different. So some buildings are worse than others. Some areas are worse than others. I used to have a shop before the shop I have now. It was painfully bad.
Yeah.
And we went as far as like to try to investigate this. We turned the power off to the entire building and walked around with a battery powered amp.
Wow.
And it was still horrible.
Mm-hmm.
It was just the area we were in, outside power lines or outside transformers on poles or things. And it was just a terrible thing. If you walk, this shop's relatively not great, but Pete Thorne took a battery powered amp, walked like 50 feet down the road, and it was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Buzz went away.
Crazy.
You need to shield the whole building, man. Wrap it.
Yeah, a Faraday cage for the entire building.
Faraday cage, the whole thing.
Just
tinfoil hats.
Because that's
jacket,
practical.
Just wrap the whole thing, guitar,
Exactly.
everything.
And then like amps, certain amps too. Like if you have a lot of top end in them, will amplify that even more. So like like the JL amps and stuff they're bright amp. They're bright, brash.
Yeah.
Man, and it has gain, and it just like bzzz, Oh my god.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's the
Over and
worst
over
if
and
you
over
live
again.
near a train station.
Yeah.
If you live anywhere near a train station, oh my
It's
god, my
bad.
girlfriend's place is like a stone's throw away from the train line, and it doesn't matter what you use, battery powered. Humbuckers sound like single coils.
Yeah, sure. Or they have dimmers in their house. The standard shitty dimmers, at least in the US, that they sell at Home Depot or something. If they're dimmed, and even if they're in a bedroom that's at the top of the house, far away from where you're at, it doesn't make any difference. You'll hear it.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
I go, turn your dimmers all the way down, off, or all the way up.
Yeah.
And then it'll go away. If it's in between, you're going to have problems.
Those touch sensitive dimmers as well. You know those ones where you like rest your finger on it and it goes up and down. Yeah, those are terrible for it too. We got rid of those at my girlfriend's place because it went crazy and it just turned the house into a strobe light. It was just
Exactly. We've got another super chat here from Sun and Pyro. Thanks, brother. Dave, I have an IRX and a couple of budget warm audio mic pre's, API-ish, inbound. Advice on routing order for mic pre and IRX into my audio interface.
Just the balanced out of your IRX into the microphone input of your API-ish warm audio pre, out of the pre into your interface. Your interface has to then be set for line level.
Nice and simple. Yeah.
So TRS to XLR cable.
There's okay, here we go. Brad's doing the Australian slang interpretation for me. It means have a drink on me. There you go. Let's get a dog up you.
Okay. It's not have a good day.
Yeah. Kiwi here. What else we got in here, guys? Yeah, Langner stuff sounded great. Yeah, it's not a circuit I've played with, but I'm definitely curious. Who designed
the gain?
Yeah, I'm not sure what this is in response to something else in the chat I haven't probably seen, but who did design the ADA MP1? Is anyone?
Langner.
Langner.
Langner
Really?
made it. Yeah.
But if you look at the MP1 though, it's not tube necessarily. So it's I mean, there's tubes in it, but it's not a lot of other clipping and stuff before that.
Yeah. He did that 3-tube mod, didn't he, as well, for those?
Oh, I don't know. Oh God, that rings a bell.
Oh, there is a 3-tube mod for it, right?
Yeah, he did that for some of them, but like, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Leon Todd did that mod. You could get a kit or something like that, couldn't you, Dan?
To be honest, I can't really see if it's like totally necessary, because like so many great tones were had with the original MP1. I mean, it's just
you can get a pretty good sound,
right?
Yeah, definitely, man. I've still got one.
Yeah, I mean, like, you hear Nuno's tone on Pornography, and I mean, man, it is just so cool. It's
great.
It's just a wicked great tone. I mean, yeah, I know there's other stuff going on for that. It's you gotta have
the ADA into the Macintosh power amps.
That's it. And there's a PQ3 in there in the front end, and God knows what that's cutting and boosting. Could be any combination of frequencies, right? It's probably the old 800 hertz trick, But
well, I can remember back in the day, man, when that album came out, not long after it, and I had an ADA MP1. I probably got it on the back of that, listening to the tones on that album, and I could not get my rig to sound anything like it. I mean, you're not Nuno either, right? So
No, but supposedly that's also
sounded good, but just not like that.
Yeah, I think you got 30-watt blackbacks for that as well. That's the other trick to it, and that's a big factor in that sound.
Yeah.
If you don't have that, it's like that's a major part of the recipe missing.
Yeah, so the Langner stuff's everywhere. So someone's saying here, do we think the Hermanson 5-stage mod has some relationship to that? Shay's shaking his head down. Right?
Nope.
Well, first of all, everyone refers. So let's think about this for a second. The Langner mod, it's not really 5 stages, is it?
It depends. Like, he did a 4 and a 5, so
I guess it is 5 with the cathode faller.
Yeah,
it's 5.
He did 4 with the cathode faller as well. I mean that.
Yeah, there's one with a 4. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy. The one who did all the instructional videos. Great player. I can't remember his name.
Doug Hoffman? No. Garrett.
Damn it! What was his name?
What, when you say instructional videos, you mean like the hot licks kind of thing?
It's like that, yeah, but they weren't hot licks. Oh, damn it!
I know who you're talking about. Wolf Hoffman? No.
Kurt Mitchell.
Kurt Mitchell. Yeah.
Kurt Mitchell, man, that guy, great player and great tone, proper gainy hands. That guy could make anything sound killer. But yeah, his one is a 4-stage Langner, and honestly, the kind of gain levels he gets from it, just plugged straight in, sounds as gainy as most people would get with a 5-stage Langner. I
mean, I think 4 is probably enough.
Well, you know what though? The funny thing is, the 4, you got to think about it though. Like that 470k 68 K divider is bleeding tons of signal away. I mean, you're boosting a gain stage and then you're just chopping it off, boost it, chop off, and it's like four stages with that isn't actually that much gain. Like with a few adjustments. I mean, you could make that 4-stage absolutely just raging though. Yeah, I've done it. It's fun, but it's as it is though.
All the plates are 100K in that circuit too.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, bleeding it off with the,
It's probably
that
better
heavy
for the amount
writing.
of gain that it actually winds up having.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if you go higher on those plates, it kind of gets a little bit fizzy. You don't really gain much from it, like apart from just that kind of top end fizz, it gets a little bit kind of harsh.
Yeah,
if you go lower.
cat come to say hello.
Oh,
Hey, kitty.
Oh,
pretty.
Oh man, he's been running in the woods. Yesterday we went to my parents' house. He had him a day.
Oh,
Had some fun.
oh right. Being outside,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, he's been sleeping all day because he's been running outside at my parents' house.
Wow.
But yeah, so that the question about the Hermansen stuff, I'm familiar with the circuit. Do you consider I was talking to
you
Kyle
are familiar with the circuit?
Yeah, I know what it is.
You have a schematic of it?
Well, I had one here that I put it.
Okay. Did you write
I
it
had
down?
one here. Yeah, of course. Well, of course. I mean, I wanted to know what it was. But
Do share.
I put an effects loop in it that me and Jason had that Marshall effects loop zero loss thing that we came out with. It was like a reissue. But okay, so here's the question. A parallel gain stage. Do you consider a parallel gain stage one gain stage or two gain stage?
One,
really.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know if that amp is a 5 gain stage amp.
Yeah.
Because it's got a parallel gain stage in it.
Yeah.
So but it's also a non-cathode follower. I think where he started, the circuit is completely unique to me.
Oh, cool.
When I saw it, I was like, oh wow, this is super cool. He I think he started at the Aldrich mod, the Cameron Aldrich, a long time ago. This is just my thoughts. Whether it's true or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think he started at the Aldrich and he just ended up in a wildly, completely different spot. Because he was posted on Metro forum about doing the Aldrich mod and stuff. So obviously he was working on that then.
But wasn't he like connected with Tommy Fulkerson?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I think he was
Tommy
his mentor, wasn't he, or something like that?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So wasn't
I worked on one of his amps once.
You did?
Yeah.
Was
Tommy
it the one
Fulkerson.
with the epoxy block in it?
I really don't remember, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's a
Class A
urinal
power amp.
puck.
No,
That's
not
the-
that.
No,
Not that.
this is it's a 1287 that's rigged up as a mini power section.
Oh, is it?
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Oh,
So
shit.
it's a little.
I need a
it's a little
schematic of that
class.
too. I'll be right back.
But it's all the circuit is epoxy potted, so you'd have to. Yeah, I mean, you'd really have to do some work to get through one of them, because I've done that before on a mod like years ago, and you can't break into that stuff easily. You need like a dental drill or something to just sit there and like slowly get through it, or X-ray it. But how are you going to X-ray an amp? It's kind of ridiculous. But,
Dude, I will say this about that circuit, about the Hermansen stuff, right? Because so it's plate fed tone stack, right?
Yeah.
And the tone stack's not. I mean, it's close to traditional, but there's different values. I mean, he's changed a lot of that stuff. Even the phase inverter cap, is not a 0.02. But what is so strange about the plate fed stuff is that it has a certain characteristic of tone that is inherent with that design.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's like, even if you change a lot of stuff in that kind of circuit, it still kind of sits in a tonal spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of that stuff sounds really similar.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Especially if you've got the if you think about it, if you're driving like a relatively standard Marshall style tone stack straight off the plate, a lot of guys, if they're doing that, they're just kind of staying with that same tone stack. So really, that's kind of that in
It doesn't
itself is
really,
going
it
to
doesn't really work like that, right?
It doesn't work too good.
You've
No.
got to make some adjustments to it, otherwise it sounds honky and.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on the circuit. Like, I mean, some guys put like a blocking cap or like a resistive divider there before the tone stack.
Yeah.
You know, like you see that on the camera and stuff. You know, it's not just tied straight to the plate. Like for me, like on like the Killer Cali, you know, it's tied straight off the plate. There's no cap in line with it, because I did a cap, didn't like it, did that, tried a few different things, just didn't gel with it. But every design is obviously, you know, going to be a little bit different. So it's all the other stuff as well that's leading up to that.
Sure.
So yeah, but it definitely, I don't know. I just find that plate fed thing generally feels a little bit more gaming. It just feels a bit more than a cathode follower does. But I love both for different reasons. You know.
Also, you know, dude, let me hop in for 1 second. I reached out to Henrik when I had that amp here, and even though like I did, like I wanted, like I wrote it down, but also I didn't share it with anybody. And I hope nobody posts that, because it's like he worked on it and he made something unique. And I think that's like really commendable in like newer stuff, you know? So, you know?
Yeah, totally. I've got mad respect for him.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think he does great work, and all the clips I've heard sound cool, and also he's a great player.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's cool.
Did you reach out? Did you get him on? Did you reach out about him doing Tone Talk, Dave? You were talking about that.
Wait a minute. I think we did, but I don't think his English is that good. So it could be a problem.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Why is that like sitting in the back of my head for that right now? I think Mark told me that or something.
I think we have talked about it in this group before on
maybe
stream, right, about him coming on, and you were like, "Oh yeah, I should do that." So maybe you
I know I would love to. He does amazing work. I've seen his work, like immaculate. It's great,
super talented.
Yeah.
Well, I had one of those amps here, the 5-stage amp that he builds into the 59 hand wide. There's a guy in Melbourne that owns one, and it had he had a problem with it. It was just ended up just being a failed LND 150 in the loop. I think he just had a stock Metro loop in it, I think, from memory.
Yeah.
But I didn't go to the trouble of trying to trace the whole thing out. I mean, I was curious enough to kind of understand what was making it work, but I did not. I don't know. Too much. It's a lot of work to reverse a design like that. It's like, leave it alone. It's cool. Move on.
Yeah, sometimes you look at it and you're just like, oh.
You know, like honestly, these days when I look at an amp for the first time, I'm actually more interested in kind of the construction techniques and stuff than I am.
Yeah.
You know, what cathode resistor is it? You know, like whatever. It just doesn't really interest me that much anymore. I'm much more interested in like, you know, how the pot's done. Are they PCB mount or is it hand wired? And like, you know, like all the kind of, I'm more interested in kind of the engineering side of it at the moment. But anyway, someone's asking, hey Jason, if you don't mind me asking, the Vortex mod, which I've done on 9059 hand wired, is it another 12AX7 or a FET boost like the EJ? No, it's another 12AX7. So that's drill a hole in the chassis, put a tube in as an extra stage out front. So when it's in the high input, it's 2 gain stages, then the gain pot, 2 more stages, and cathode follower. Where are we next here? It's just like back in the day, if you weren't getting Mexican radio on your amp, it wasn't enough gain. That's funny.
Perfect.
Yeah, guys are talking about chicken wire around your shop, Dave.
Yeah, there's a whole thing about that though. You have to make a complete cage, and it's not so easy.
No,
You can actually do it. There's shielding paint you can get that actually you can do it with, and then you can ground the whole walls with the shielding paint.
Saw people doing that with their houses.
You have to paint so many layers of it, and you got to make sure the ground connection's good, and it's just like shielding a guitar cavity.
Yeah.
yeah. 100%.
Also,
The paint's
the paint
really
costs a
expensive.
fortune.
Yeah, it's really expensive.
Yeah.
We've got a super chat here from Logie Bear. Thanks, man. Gary Holt's modded Marshall is brutal, man. It's one of the best tones out there, I think. Fabulous Disaster is killer tone, yeah. And the tone on Tempo for the Damned is the Langner modded Marshall too, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's just
And that, you know, the
killer.
interesting thing I think about his schematic of his Marshall is that it doesn't have any of the high frequency cuts.
Yeah.
It's just like
Quite a
wide
bright
open.
tone. Yeah.
Yeah, and on Tempo, because Andy Sneap did Tempo, didn't he? I spoke to him about it, and he said that it was that Marshall, and it was the passive EMG pickups, the HZ pickups they made that everyone was like removing out guitars, and people didn't like them. It was one of those in the bridge, and I think it was just like stock 75 watt Celestians, nothing unique or anything like that. He said it was just. You know, he said at the time, no one was really like particularly like wowed about it. It was just like, okay, this is a good sound. This will work for the record. And he said, and it's like interesting how years later, everyone's like, you know,
Yeah, that's it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, everyone like is like worshipping that sound.
It's a really
Yeah.
big tone. Like I've listened to that tone really carefully, and I've put it up in Logic and had a look at the EQ curve and stuff on it. It's a massive bottom end in that, and really nice crisp top as well.
Yeah,
it's a
and
really
funny thing
big
is,
sound.
I've got a weird feeling that Andy said it was just one mic, 157.
Shit.
Yeah,
Probably.
But you know what,
Yeah,
like,
probably
Andy's,
right. Yeah.
Andy's like magic. Like that guy can like get incredible sounds from just about anything when he records. So it's like, you know, it's crazy stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. Favorite speaker combo in a 4x12 X pattern for higher gain.
Yeah, I'm not an X pattern guy.
Yeah,
Don't like it. Nope.
I don't
Top
like
and bottom
mixing
difference
either.
is cool, but like
I don't. The way we do ours with the two V30s in the bottom and the two greenbacks on top, not an X pattern, actually works out pretty well.
it's way better.
People generally like those cabinets a lot.
Yeah.
The consensus seems to be that they like my cabinets, so that works. I don't know if it's my first choice. I kind of like all greenbacks personally, but I can see both. It's a nice blend. How I got that was originally when I did a million years ago when I did Jerry Cantrell's first rig I did for him and for the Dirt album. He got a Bogner preamp, and in the demo room that we were demoing all this stuff, we had one greenback 4x12 and one vintage 30 4x12. So that was the stereo part, you know, and we put that through a Moss Valve 500 Moss Valve 500 power amp, and the blend of the speakers and Jerry playing and everything, it was like, yeah, that's it. And the speaker blend was a big part of it.
Yeah.
The two kinds of cabinets. Yes, they were in different cabinets. So later when I was just thinking about it, I'm like, what if we just blend them in one cabinet?
Yeah.
Same idea. And so I did it, and it worked out really well, and it worked really well. So that's our standard cabinet that we have that blend in. Now it even works better because I think the V30 speakers we're getting now from the UK are even better.
They sound good, don't they? These UK
They're
ones.
warmer. They're not as brittle. No. The newest ones are warmer than even older ones.
Interesting.
Which is great for me.
Yeah, I prefer those warmer ones as well. Like I've got one pair of them that are from like 2002 or 2003.
Yeah.
And oh my god, they're buttery smooth. They make you can put a really super bright amp through them, and it just sounds pleasant.
Yeah.
They're really, really nice. But they're not. But they're like, even though they're warm, they're they still cut really good.
Yeah, a vintage
It's just
30
no
recorded is
unpleasantness.
great.
Say that again.
A vintage 30 recorded is really good.
Yeah, I think every clip I've ever done
Sometimes
is with
in
one.
the room when you're just sitting in front of them, they could be deemed as a little bit harsh.
Yeah.
Especially on like lower gain things.
Yeah.
So
it always depends what amp you're running with them too, you know. But
Yeah.
I mean, I've had Shay and I have got these new 4x12s that Kyle at KSR's been putting together, and they've got the new, he's got the new UK V30s.
Yeah.
They sound fucking amazing.
Yeah, the
Sound
new
good.
UK V30 sound great.
There's been some videos on YouTube about them too.
Yeah. Yeah, we watched all of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god. Shay,
I'm like, they switched to the new one. I'm like, oh yeah, the high end roll off. That's better.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Shay, what speakers were you using before in your main 4x12 cab that you were using on like demo clips and stuff?
It was always a vintage 30, but I've got a lot of different kinds of them.
Right.
And in the cabinets, like back in the day, I just loved orange cabinets. For some reason, I got a thumbs up there. I just loved orange cabinets. Always played them, and they had I've got one of those orange cabinets from 2002, I think.
Yeah.
With those speakers in it, and yeah, man, I just never really deviated from. I can't find anything that I like more. Honestly, I love the Marshall branded ones, the proprietary Marshall ones.
Yeah.
They have definitely, like when people bitch about like the mid spike of a vintage 30, those have the biggest mid spike, I think.
Oh, they're brutal. Yeah, I've had
But
a few of those.
I love them. You just turn the mids down on your amp.
Yeah,
like,
I also
the
like
presence.
them. Yeah,
Um,
but they're different enough that to me, I think they should be deemed like a completely different speaker. They're not a vintage 30, are they?
They're not the same speaker.
No.
I always said they were like a vintage 30 crossed with the 75 watt speaker.
Yeah, they've
Kinda.
got the crispiness of the 75s.
Yeah,
100%.
they're great speakers. So in my shop, I've got one. I have an orange cabinet with 2002 Celestion V30s, and then my other cabinet has the Marshall proprietary speakers in it, which are much brighter. And I do everything through those.
So Shay, is that what's in your purple 4x12 that you have? Because everything that you would have heard, Dan, I mean, I've been in that workshop and played amps a bunch now in Shay's room there. He has you got the two cabinets daisy chained together, right? So it's an 8 ohm.
Yeah.
Every amp that's on the bench, it's just always running through.
You know what's good too is the Creamback H75s in a 4x12.
Yep.
Those
I've not tried them in a 4x12.
Those sound amazing in a 4x12.
I did them in a 2x12, but I had one of them and I had a vintage 30, and you couldn't hear the vintage 30 whatsoever. It was so much louder than the vintage 30.
Yeah, but the Creamback H's in a 4x12 sound really neat. I know George Metropolis has a cab in his shop, and every time I played an amp through that cabinet, I'm just like, fuck.
Dave, have you tried in a 4x12, have you tried a blend of the Cream 65s and the 75s? Have you tried that?
I have not.
That's what I've got in this one of my cabs at the moment.
How's that?
Yeah, cool. Like,
it
was just kind of a happy coincidence. It just kind of happened by accident, really, because of availability of speakers. But man, I'm really digging it. It's really great.
Well, the interesting thing about the 65s, right, Creams, is they essentially sound just like a greenback in all frequencies, but the very top end. The top end is just rolled from a standard greenback. So, but literally all the other frequencies, like almost is verbatim exactly the same. So, like if someone says, I have a really bright plexi and I want something in my 212 cabinet, the Creamback 65s are actually quite good choice for that because it literally just rolls the top off, but retains everything else about what you like about a greenback.
And you use them in some of the combos, don't you, Dave? The
We
one
use
with
them.
12s.
No, we don't use them in the combos anymore. We use redbacks in the combos now.
Ah,
The
I
thing
think I
with
had a run.
the 65s in the combos in open back
Yeah.
would blow up. People would blow them up.
Ah, yes.
They
yeah.
play too
Actually, there's a
loud,
guy.
and there's no there's nothing that is the speaker excursion is too great, and they blow up.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah.
So,
I know a guy. One. It happened here a couple of weeks ago to a guy with a Runt 50
So
combo.
yes.
Yeah.
So all combos that are open back, we went to a red back, just
Okay.
so that won't happen.
Yeah.
And actually, the red back in an open back combo sounds amazing. I think it's a really good speaker for that. It's really powerful sounding in an open back combo. It's quite a cool speaker, actually.
Yeah, that's what Richie Faulkner's using with his wizard heads.
Oh,
Live.
is he in his 412s?
Yeah, he's got like 4 4x12s.
Yeah, they're good.
Loaded with the red backs, I think. Well,
they're really good.
I think the last time I spoke to his tech, he said that they were red backs. Because I
Yeah,
think
they're
they
really
wanted
good.
to do I think they wanted to do like EVs, and I think maybe the availability back then was iffy, so they went with the red backs, and it's like yeah. Good speaker.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really good. It sounds good. And it sounds really good in those open back combos. I'm like, and most people that I've had that had both were like, no, the red back's better in the combo. I like it better. So I'm like, great. Good to hear. I like that most of you say it's better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Instead
I
of
might
worse.
pick one up. I've got a couple of those old like Marshall open back 1x12s.
Yeah.
That they made at some point in the 80s.
That should be good for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking they could be cool for a different sound.
Yeah,
so I
they're
might
really
stick a
good for
pair
that.
in
Yeah.
there.
Adam, hey Adam. Adam's asking strapped triodes. So Dave, I think you talked about this. I heard a little bit of the tone talk on Saturday morning here for me. I'll repeat the question and you can talk about it again. So strapped triodes in parallel, but different value plate and cathode resistors, different bypass cap values, grid strapped together, summing into a single output. Thoughts?
Okay, so the Jose stuff, if he used paralleled stuff, the input grids were paralleled, but it had separate plate resistors, it had separate output coupling caps, and it had separate cathode resistors. And just the output coupling caps were summed at the 1 point on the output. And then there was a 0022 cap to ground. That's how he would do it. There's other ways to do that. You could actually just sum the pins all on the tube and then change the value of the plate resistor and have one common cathode resistor with a changed value. Personally, in the Jose stuff, I don't like the paralleled thing that much. I think if you just disconnect the one cap, you're like, it sounds better. Something more defined or something. Yeah, technically it has more gain that's driving into, it has more voltage coming out of that parallel stage driving into the next stage. But I don't think it sounds as good. Have you played with that, Dan?
Yep. Yeah, I'm the same. I don't really like the parallel stage as much. Like the thing is, it fucks with the input impedance.
Yeah.
The input stage is different. It's you've got more. I guess you've got more millicapacitance happening as well because you're running both sides of the tube. So you've already. It's a little bit like running a normal stage and putting like a nice big. I don't know, something like a.
I guess you do, but Jose. So like the Jose thing, right? So generally speaking, there's no input resistor, and there's a 250 picofarad cap to ground. Yeah,
it's like I don't know. I just find when you parallel the two triodes together, just the combination of just both parts of the triode, the internal capacitance there, you just immediately notice that let's say if you've got a particularly bright, open sounding pickup that you're using in a guitar. It won't sound so wide open anymore. sounds a little bit like you've got like a cap in parallel, like to ground, like dumping highs
well,
off.
maybe then if you're paralleling it, maybe then that capacitor to ground, the 250 picofarad that's normally there, should go to 100.
Yeah, you can reduce it. To be honest, I like it without any cap to ground.
Straight in, no resistor.
Yes, no resistor. Like, it's okay. You know, it's cool. To be honest, I've found that I like to put a really, really tiny resistor, and I mean tiny, like 100 ohm, 470 ohm, anything that's like lower than 1K. It kind of solves the issues that you get when you don't have the grid resistor, but it doesn't really have the audible effect that you get with a grid resistor that would be like anything above 10K, because you've got a roll off there. Anything beyond 5 or 10K, that you've got like a noticeable roll off. But the playing field's different as well, isn't it? You know, if you've got,
it's kind of
68K,
interesting to hear the difference between just no resistor with, say, the traditional Jose, which was the 250 picofarad to ground, and putting, say, a 33K or 68K resistor in path. It's very different in frequency response on how the amp sounds.
Yep. And also
extremely.
And also not only that, but the shielded cable you're using, if you don't have a grid resistor on there and you use just run-of-the-mill, like some crappy, shielded one that's got massive capacitance between the hot and the shield, you've got like a massive cap to ground, and you can, like, I've literally taken like lengths of cable out, shielded cable out of amps that's like crappy cable, put it on my cap meter, and you're measuring like hundreds of picofarads, and then if you swap in like coax, like I use like RG 174.
Yeah, those are very
coax.
low capacitance. Yeah,
it's great. I mean, you have to be a little bit careful because the capacitance is so low. You can get a little bit of ringing if you're not careful with that stuff. But generally, as long as it's secured good and everything, you can hot glue it if you need to, or use some cable straps. But using that, I mean, that's like, that front end is wide open with that. It's great. I mean, it doesn't take the top end.
The same thing comes into play if you do a hot shield, let's say.
Yeah.
So the capacitance of the cable that you're using for a hot shield is massively different.
Yeah.
Like if it's too much capacitance, that just sounds terrible. It's just awful. But if you're using, like, say, a Teflon shielded cable or something that is very tough, and actually I prefer to use a Teflon shielded cable for if I'm going to have to do that, because well, first of all, you don't have any danger there, because you can't even melt the Teflon with the soldering iron. So, but it's super low capacitance too, generally speaking. So like it's way, 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 way different. Yeah.
So this is also like when you see, when we were talking about the number 36.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to have the hot shield on that.
Yeah. You can do the hot shield, or just take the hot shield out and then just put some caps in between the plate.
Yeah, you've got to compensate it in some way.
Yeah, I usually do that, just because, quite honestly, it works. I've sort of A/B'd it and just thought, you know what, this is close enough. I like it. But you can then, like, it's great, if you've got like small value ceramics, you can tune that. You can tune just how much you want. You might 10
picofarad or something.
Yeah,
10, 20 picofarad
in there, and if it comes out really like horribly bright, you can up it, a bit more in certain places. But yeah, all of this stuff is like, it's really easy to overlook it, but this is all
but it's
important
part of it.
Yeah,
it's important.
That input stage is so critical, though. Yeah.
In the parallel stages that you've seen on some of those Jose's, Dave, I'm assuming that they were all, the plate resistors, the cathode resistors, the bypass caps were all the same values, like maybe 200K, 2K7, 0.68.
Yes.
Because he's saying mixing different triode setups. I've never played with that.
I've never done that. I don't know. I mean, there's another way, another concept to do this is if, let's say, you had 100K plate resistor that fed both plates.
Yes. Yeah.
You would change that plate resistor to a 50K.
Exactly.
And then the same thing with
because it doubles.
the cathodes, you doubles.
Because you got double the current going through it.
So
this was in the matchless, right?
Well, matchless and or some Marshall stuff. Like I think, doesn't the JVM have a doubled up?
Oh,
vintage
model. No, Slash Amp had a doubled up front end. Yeah,
the AFD's got it, hasn't it? Because it's got
that
50,
Santiago did.
It's something weird. It's like 51K plate resistor or something.
Right. Well, that's because it's a metal film or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, also though, all those newer Marshalls have got loads of other shit going on before you even get to the input grid.
True.
I don't like any of it. I just take it all out and just put straight line.
The original, all the original Jose stuff had a 250 picofarad, no input grid resistor, 250 picofarad to ground.
Yeah.
Right.
And generally speaking, that was on the input tube. Generally speaking, later on in the mods, he also had 250Ks, like 250 picofarads. Like for instance, on the next stage, on the input, so after the 68K dividers, he would also have a 250 picofarad to ground.
Yeah.
The base stage that you would click in and out would also have a 250 picofarad to ground. And I've even seen it on the input to the cathode follower.
Yeah.
250 picofarad to ground. Now, some of that was just too much. For sure.
Yeah, well, I saw one Jose that had got the caps you were talking about from like the grid to ground there, and because he actually had like soldered them right to the chassis.
Yep.
Yeah, just like roughed the chassis up and soldered to it.
Which is actually probably the best way to do it.
Yeah, honest. Totally. Probably not great for the cap, mind you. To be on there that long. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's part of it. Even in other things I've seen, which we won't talk about.
Yeah. Got to keep a few little secrets here and there.
Yeah.
Can't give it all away.
All right. Well, I'm looking through the balance of the chat here. There was a question or a comment here. Here we go. Be interested to see what you guys think about. Has anyone tried the Alnico creams? I know our old mate Reza always demos with Alnico creams, doesn't he? And that's like looking at some of the comments on his videos. It's a love-hate thing. I've never owned any and tried them, but
honestly, I haven't tried them in a 4x12 like he has. I have no idea.
No, me neither.
I don't know.
It's always hard to tell what, so if you're listening to that speaker on his channel,
well,
what does this sound like? I don't know I don't have a reference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you have a vintage 30 cabinet, or if you have a greenback cabinet, you have a reference, right? So I don't know what the reference is. So
yeah.
It'd actually be good. That would be a good video for him to do, actually.
Here's a greenback cabinet, here's a vintage 30 cabinet, and here's this. All mic exactly the same way with the mic in the exact same spot.
That would be super cool, because then it's the same guitar, same player,
same
room. You'd actually then know what these things sound like. Yeah. So someone says a new Reza would come up.
Reza's a friend. I like Reza.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Reza's always been super cool with me. Yeah, super nice guy.
He's cool. Yeah. And he certainly did me a favor by reviewing the Alta when it first came out. And it helped me massively, man. I appreciate him.
Same. He's like put the word out about my work, big time on YouTube. Like he did tons of clips.
And Shay.
And big time for me.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Reza.
Yeah.
Really
Dave, I remember Reza, this would be going back a little bit. He had I think he called it a custom 50, Friedman custom 50.
He still has it.
Yeah, that thing sounded fucking amazing.
That's one amp he hasn't sold.
Yeah, nice.
Right.
Yeah.
Like one of the only one.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's there's some big praise
Still
there,
has
man.
it.
Yeah.
Man, that amp sound good.
That I mean, that was pretty much you know, sort of a Meshuggah take, Dave Friedman's Meshuggah take. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it was
totally.
a pre-tone stack masters.
Did you do the two? Is it 2 game pots or just a single?
It was the amp channel switch, so it was done on a small box amp originally, and so it had so the high gain channel was the typical 2 gain pots, you know, into the pre-tone stack masters, you know, out, and then the other channel was losing 1 gain pot into the pre-tone stack masters out, and there's 2 different clipping stages, so you guys can all get the gist of that. You know, actually, it worked cool.
Yeah, it sounded great.
Yeah, he made it sound good. He made it sound good. Yeah, I'll tell you this. When I was working, 2000, the first time he demoed one of my amps, I think he just bought it. I forget how it worked out.
Was it a mod?
Yeah, it was a Marshall mod.
I think I saw it. I was working at this. I still had a job at that point. I was working at this medical. I was working in medical manufacturing.
Yeah, you still have
I
a
know.
job.
I had a.
You got the hardest job there is, dude.
Yeah, but honestly, it was huge when he started demoing my amps. I mean, the exposure that it gave me was pretty intense, man. So he's always got
the
a
original. Was that the original Black Sun?
Yeah.
I think I saw that amp.
Yeah. And then by the time when I did the first production amp, the Skeleton Key, the first one, I sent him the first one, and the timing of it was just crazy because COVID happened before that. And like after that, the guitar market just went insane at that point.
Yeah.
Right. So I had like 100 guys trying to buy that amp, and I only put out 10 of them. I was like, oh shit, what do I do here?
Man.
So
it's good to have the
drum. That was an interesting time. Man.
Yeah.
It was
crazy.
Like, just totally went the opposite way. I think we all thought it was going to go. Like,
oh man, did it ever?
For us, it did. You know,
for us, it was
for
just
us,
the world
went
just
the other way.
up.
Yeah.
I think everyone that was just that was totally unexpected and difficult to ramp up for the demand too, right? Because a lot of places had stay-at-home restrictions in place, and
it was
someone here is Simple Man Guitars. A lot of love for Dave Freeman on these comments in here.
Nice.
I'm looking through the end of the chat here, guys. I'm not seeing a hell of a lot more. Can anyone, unless you guys can see something?
Where are we at? We're at 247 already.
I'm looking right down the bottom here. Zilla Cab. Still, guys are still talking about cabs and speakers. I've never tried a Zilla Cab. I don't know. I'm sure one of you guys probably has. They look cool.
Oh, Zilla makes amazing stuff.
You've got one, haven't you, Dan?
I've not got a Zilla.
Pretty.
Oh yeah.
That purple.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Super cool.
Sorry, I just saw the book and I had to get some Marshall porn out.
No, Zilla. I've not got one of their speaker cabinets, but I've had a bunch of their head shells for Marshalls. They did an amazing white snakeskin one for one of my customers.
They seem to make good stuff. They do good content and seem like nice to guys.
Yeah.
They do. They've got a bunch of speaker comparison videos.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, I've watched those. Those are good.
Molly, and those are fucking great.
Yeah,
those are
really good.
Yeah, totally.
Great reference videos.
They put tons of really useful stuff.
Yeah. Where are they based?
They're down in the very southwest, I think, of England. Okay. So it's quite a way away from me.
Yeah,
probably like 5 hours, 6 hours, something like that.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's a shame I'm not closer, but yeah, their work though, all the stuff they put out is just killer.
How close are you to London?
About an hour and a bit away.
Okay.
I'm not actually in London. Like I'm out further southeast.
Yeah,
So
an
I'm
hour
out
is
in,
like not too bad.
Yeah.
Everywhere in LA is an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
Down the street is an hour here.
The grocery store's an hour. Yeah.
Yeah. Where I live, there's like.
How long is it going to take? An hour.
Yeah.
Well, it's only 3 miles. Yeah.
Still an hour.
Still an hour.
Yeah. No, here it's like it's a great place for commuters where I live. You know, out in Essex.
Get on the train.
Yeah, everyone just jumps on the train, goes to work.
Yeah, you train. You wouldn't drive.
Yeah.
Nah, exactly. No,
No,
it's just you just jump on the train and you're there, and it's it's not so bad. It's not too expensive. It's like I think it works out to like about 30 quid.
I want to come out to the UK again. I'm gonna fucking look you up, and I'm gonna go look up Andy Sneap.
Yeah, man.
Like,
absolutely.
I told him I go, if I'm coming back up, I'm coming to visit you.
You have to,
you have
to come out to the UK and then also come out to Europe as well.
Yeah, right.
It's like you got to do like a tour. You got to come out, man.
Well, I've done that before, but
yeah, I missed you though. I was away. I was actually out in Europe when you were in the UK.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, I would have come out, and then I think when I got back to the UK, you went to Europe.
Yeah,
So we literally passed each other probably on a plane somewhere.
Exactly. I don't know if we're. The problem is I don't know if we're ever going to do that again. I just don't know. But I might do it on my own. So
yeah, just come out for a holiday or something. Just travel for a bit. It's so good.
Yeah,
you got to come and visit Slovenia. Man, it's so good.
Yeah, that sounds fucking good to me.
The food, the drink, the people, the location.
All right, well, perfection. Well, I'll look you up if that's happening.
So good.
All right, Dan, where are we going?
There's lots of choice.
So from England, then traveling to Slovenia, how do you do that?
Oh, you just get on you go to London Stansted, and you just take a flight. It's barely
flight.
Yeah, it's just like 2 hours flight.
Okay.
Totally easy. You can just fly straight there. I usually fly to Croatia. I fly to Zagreb, and then that way, because my girlfriend lives right on the southeast of Slovenia, so it's closer for me to get to Zagreb airport in Croatia, get picked up there, and just go across the border. Whereas if I go to Slovenia's main airport, then it's like an hour and a half away from her. So
okay, got it.
Yeah, but it's great. Flights are cheap. The food is cheap. The booze is cheap. Everything's great.
Sounds great.
Hot weather, like the weather in all through like the summer and everything. It's like being in California.
Nice.
Like 30 to 40 degrees, pure sunshine. Awesome.
I think you sold it.
Yeah.
Weren't you talking about moving there?
Brad's in.
Oh wait, Brad's like, I'll meet you there.
Yeah, Brad's in.
Everyone, we should all just get everyone to come over there, and we're like
either that or everyone has to come to NAMM this year. Come on,
yeah.
Come on, let's do it.
Yeah, man. Jason's gonna be back in the States next month. He's coming back over.
You are?
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Straight into
Indiana.
You're going straight to Indiana.
Yeah. It's just, I had a look at the whole, it's just too expensive to do it. But I do want to come. I actually am serious about thinking about coming for NAMM, Dave. I think my thinking on it at the moment is like to do it the first time. I'd probably just want to go, like not to exhibit, maybe later, like whatever, right? But just to kind of come and like network would be probably the way to do it the first time.
Yeah.
So we need
Dan, you should come too.
To come as well.
Yeah, I would like to come out. I would like to do NAMM.
It's a good fun time.
I don't know whether it will be at this NAMM coming up like the next one or not, but would be fun.
Come on.
Would be fun.
Fly out.
Yeah. Come on, man.
You get lots of trouble at our booth.
You probably need to be booking accommodation already, I would imagine.
Yeah, I was waiting on that. I normally wait a little longer. I book it at the last minute kind of, but
Where do you
I
normally
was going to
stay?
book it really early, but I was like nervous about like they're going to bill me for this right now.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
And I'm like, let's see what's going to happen. And I'm glad I waited a little bit because I was waiting to see what was happening with the tariffs and everything and all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I'll book it soon, probably.
Okay.
I'm
And
bougie, and I'm bougie, and I booked the nice hotel that I can just like literally walk straight into the convention center. From. I pay for it. We pay for it though. Trust me.
The best options would be the ones that you just like right on the convention center, I would imagine.
But when you can just go down your elevator straight to the Starbucks in the bottom, and then go back to your room, and then when you're ready to go in, you just walk out and you walk 50 feet to the convention center. That's the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super convenient.
You don't have to travel. You don't have to walk that far. You don't have to do anything.
Well, you know, it's probably a good thing because if you've been hanging at the Friedman booth, you know, and you've been doing a bit of,
you're in trouble. Yes, you're in trouble.
You're not going to be like.
You won't be drinking whiskey though. You'll be drinking tequila, but really good tequila.
Oh my god!
Really
One
good.
thing's for sure, I'll never remember anything.
It doesn't matter. You don't have to.
It's like, who did I meet?
Yeah, like how was NAMM? Did I go?
Yeah, you'd have to watch the YouTube clips.
That's right.
YouTube clips.
It'd be you running around.
There shouldn't be YouTube in those situations. It should be what happens at NAMM stays at NAMM.
Unfortunately, I have the YouTube clips.
Yeah.
Yes. I have to do the interviews.
Yeah.
With the drink in hand sometimes.
And a lot of them, Dave.
So sometimes I'll watch the interviews and I'll be like, I know I'm 3 sheets to the wind, but that was pretty good.
There was one, and
I managed to make it through that one pretty well.
I can't remember which one it was, Dave, but there was one, the most recent NAMM, where you were with the Jose amp. And
oh my god, yeah,
probably. I remember listening to it and I'm thinking, this must be
because sometimes you have no warning. You're just like, can you do this now? Oh
yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Man, nothing compares to
but
that,
I made
Jake.
it through, didn't I? I made it through, didn't I?
Oh, it was great. Yeah, like you were.
I wasn't, but you could tell I was slightly altered.
You were very enthusiastic about it, which was.
Oh yes, okay.
It makes me think of the Jakey Lee tone talk.
Oh fuck!
Yeah,
the first one. Oh,
yeah, you were trashed. Man, you were rat ass.
Dude, it didn't end there, right? I've told you this, right? So we did 4 hours, and I was having beers in the bar in the lobby before he came in because he was late, and then he came in and I had a bottle of scotch waiting for him that I bought for him specifically, the kind he likes, and then we started drinking the scotch. I had already had a couple big beers downstairs, you know. I'd already we started drinking the scotch and we drank the whole bottle of the scotch. We emptied it. And then I still had a few extra things from downstairs in the room, like a couple other cans of beer or something, or Michelada beer or something we had. And we drank all that too. And then we went to dinner.
Oh man.
I've told this a million times.
Yeah.
This is where the trouble started. So then we go to dinner. So my friend in that video, a friend of mine that I've known since I was a kid who lives in Vegas, came and joined us in the room. And he was sitting on the bed while we were doing the video behind us. And he was just listening to the whole video. And he doesn't drink anymore. Thank God. Because we go downstairs. Jake's like, I know where we can go. I'm like, okay. And I handed the keys to the car to my friend Doug, who doesn't drink anymore. Here you go. You're driving. And we go to this steak restaurant that he loves, Cleaver. And from what I remember, it was a cool place.
From what
a little foggy what it even looked like or what it was, The ordering was a little foggy too, but I think I got a ribeye steak and I think I got some mushrooms and things. I'm not sure. But I remember the waiter specifically said, "Well, what are you going to drink? Or what would you like to drink?" And I looked at Jake and I just said, "Whatever he ordered."
Oh man.
So, because I couldn't even formulate, I couldn't even fucking talk. Yeah, that was an absinthe cocktail. That's what he ordered.
Jesus Christ.
Which was great. It tasted great. But yeah. And
on top of
on top of the scotch and the beer. Oh no, that's a bad mix. And we sat there and had dinner, and we had a big old steak and the whole the typical steakhouse kind of thing,
Yeah.
which is good probably for me because that sobered you up a little bit. But I'm pretty sure there was a second absinthe cocktail, and there might have been a third. I'm not exactly sure. That part is foggy. I'm not sure on that. So yeah, next thing I remember waking up in the hotel room face down in the bed.
Yeah.
I actually remember though getting back to the hotel, and there was this whole, my friend was driving again, and Jake's like, "Oh, okay, I'll get an Uber." And then he goes, "Oh, my card expired on the Uber. I got to put a new card in." And my friend's like, "I'll drive you home. It's no big deal. I got my car here. I'll drive you home." Well, no, I can get an Uber. It's just like, I'll do this. And I'm just sitting there like, "You guys good with each other? Yeah, cool. Okay, bye." I went upstairs. And there was more to that, but I'm not going to. Yeah, I'm not going to divulge those details of what came up later.
Literally.
Maybe continue that story when we're back.
I'm not gonna, yeah. What came up later? Yes.
Oh man. Oh yeah.
You can imagine.
Yeah. Yeah. We're nearly through this, guys. I'm just gonna Brad. I think 750 Aussie for a JMP1, so that's about $500, guys.
That's a good deal.
That's a good deal, man. I would grab that for sure.
JMP1's cool.
Yeah. All right. I think we're through the chat from what I can see, and right on 3 hours as well. Just like normal. Good
the
work.
Normal 3 hours.
Yeah. Solid effort.
Dan, is your emoji on?
Made it through my drink. Well,
is your reactions on with the with this thing?
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You guys are. I still haven't figured out how to do mine.
So, Dave, in the top right, you're on a Mac of it, you're right.
Yeah,
so
of course.
Can you see the green? Have you got the video camera with a little green icon in the top?
Yeah.
Okay, so click on that.
Right, click on it. It says Google Chrome.
And then can you see below that? Can you see Portrait Studio Light reactions and background?
No. That does not exist.
Oh, because that's the reactions thing. That's where you turn it on.
Nope, it doesn't exist.
No, well,
I don't know.
Need a new Mac. Time for a new Mac.
This is the latest fucking.
Here we go. I got some fireworks.
I feel left out, motherfuckers. I'll fucking figure this out.
So I'm not right clicking. I'm left clicking on that video camera, and
no, all I have is Google Chrome.
On. Yeah.
Well, I'm not using the actual Apple camera, so does that matter?
No, I'm not either. I'm using a external camera on a USB.
Well, then why isn't mine there?
I don't know, man.
I mean, I have brick shit. This is the hell is this? Yeah, this is Sequoia 15.4.
Yep.
The background
latest
here.
You gotta go and jump on your.
Yeah, I like it. You're gonna go sit on the couch again?
Take it out that way.
Hold on. Here we go. Fucking, that's great.
Oh my god.
He's got balloons. All you need, all
up
they
the
need
phone,
to do in
brother.
that picture is have a Duff beer that you can pick up. That would be great.
Oh my god.
So good. Funny.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, Dave's not here. Yeah, no shit.
All right, Dave.
I'll figure this out.
All right, man.
That'll sell amps.
Jason tried.
Yeah. Maybe Google that, man.
I know.
I'm sure you'll figure it out. Well, by the time we're on next time, you'll have it. You'll have it sorted.
Yeah, I'll have it sorted so I can.
Yeah.
And nothing. See. No fun.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in again. We'll do this again. I think next time, if we can, depending on everyone's availability, if we do it in 4 weeks' time again, I'm going to be in Indiana.
Cool.
So
Shit.
it'll be a Sunday afternoon for me. Maybe I'll set
There
up
you
in the
go.
workshop, Jay. You'll be where you are, and I'll be over in the workshop somewhere.
Yeah, we could do that.
It would be easy for you.
Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah.
Well, you know, change the scene.
Won't be so
exactly.
Early.
So when are you going to be in there? When are you going to be in Indiana?
I'm flying on the 16th, so it's like 4 weeks. 4 weeks today. Yeah.
Right.
Still got a lot to do to prepare for it. Pressure's on, but we'll get it done.
How long are you out for?
Nearly 2 weeks. So it's
That's
pretty
a
much
lot in Indiana.
Yeah, pretty much 12 days. Well, man, it's working. Like when I went over last time, so which was late December. Man, we only had, I reckon, only a day or two where we kind of like weren't actually just working. Most of the time,
I should come out there and fuck you all guys all up.
Did you?
Yeah.
You wouldn't. You
Yeah.
can come over. You wouldn't imagine how much damn work we get done together, though. I mean,
Not if I came.
You fuck it all up.
You're like, fuck.
2 weeks later, and there's just all the parts still like sitting on the.
Oh no, and they're all here with me, and I'm like, oh, I got to do all this now.
Yeah.
So let me know when you finish building those amps, man. I'm going home now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone wants an Evil Joe for his birthday. Here, man. Yeah. You can have it for your birthday. $3,299.
That's cheap.
All right, guys. We will be back in 4 weeks, and we'll have more fun. And we'll do another 3-hour show, I'm sure. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We had another good number of people on the stream, so appreciate everyone tuning up.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to work now.
Dan's not getting anything.
Yeah.
He's like, keeps trying.
Oh, come
He's not
on,
getting
man.
anything. What happened?
Yeah.
Yours broke. Oh, there we go.
Now we can go. Now we can go.
All right,
See
now
you
we can
guys.
go. See you guys.
See you guys later.
Cheers.